Yark, how's it going, man? How you doing? Is this the wrong one? Interesting. 270. No, that can't be the right one. Interesting. They both had 270. Oh. Bullseye, how's it going, man? Devil, how's everyone doing this fine morning or afternoon for you guys? Hi, Lee, how's it going? Chris? Unhinged, how's everyone doing this fine morning or afternoon? We're at 285. No, I keep closing it. God damn it. How old am I? What the fuck is happening here? So that would close it. That would do that. Oh my god. No, that's 82. Shit. There we go. I bear a message from Get Planet? No chat. Wait, chat's not show. Oh, for fuck's sake, chat was showing up just now. Hold on. You're kidding. Hold on. Oh, okay. So it's not. Because on the main screen I don't have it show up here. But as soon as we get to reading, it'll pop up. No problem. Okay. No worries. We're good. No, chat is here. I tested it before I got started. I was like, holy shit, if that happens again, I'm going to lose my mind. Alright, 10 chapters, so that should get us to a solid, a little over 3 hours. Holy shit, I'm going to fall asleep at 2. I need to get up at 6. Ugh. Yeah, it's fine. I don't sleep much anyway. It's all good. Let me get... If anyone needs to run out to do anything, please feel free to do so. We'll start in give or take 12 minutes. Just to get started at the set time. So if I appreciate you guys being here a little early, but if you have anything to do or like run out or need to grab something or anything, feel free. Right now I'm just gonna fiddle around with some shit. We're gonna do Tradle. I don't think I did this today. I did not. Fantastic. Okay. Ramiro, how's it going, man? Scented mixtures. What the fuck? It's gonna be some South American country, right? Brazil. Oh wow, Jesus Christ! No, definitely not. It's an African country of some sort. Oh, you. Alright. Ramiro, no worries. You fell asleep. Hey, no such thing, okay? I'm not coming for easy as anything. Let's be clear. I'm not coming for shit, alright? I'm just reading. He's a lot closer to being an adult than I am, so I just have a lot more free time for the moment. What the fuck? What is this? It'd be too far up. I'm thinking like Egypt, but that'd be way too far up. Nagato, how's it going, man? I'm not coming for you. Oh. Okay, fair enough. Alright, whatever. How do you spell Zimbabwe? It's definitely not with an A. Don't see that cursed name. Wait. I don't know. I don't know. My African countries aren't great. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so cooked. Oh, Egypt is it's 900 kilometers northeast of South Africa. Egypt is way too far up. Oh, I'm so cooked. Fuck, what is this? Alright, I'm not getting it, so I'm gonna throw in Australia here because I'm not getting it, so I might as well get it really wrong at that point. Who even cares? What is this? Eswatini. Yeah, no shot I was getting that. What's another daily game I can play? Daily games like Wordle. Wordle, Vandal, Hurdle, Absurdle. I'm not doing Absurdle. That shit is cancerous. The country name sounds like a cocktail. Alright. Well, you've just offended, You've just offended 1.2 million people, Romero. So, you know, just watch your back, alright? That's all I'm going to say. All the folks from Eswatini are going to be real upset when they hear about this. Alright, we're going to get started in like 7 minutes time. God, what's it? Devil, do you have another daily game in mind? Oh, no, I'm bad at strands. I don't like strands. Wait, global? Maybe we can play? Nope. Mystery country. The hotter the color, the closer you are. If the country is Japan, then that would be the case. Okay, no problem. No, Russia's too big to try to get any detail out of France. Oh, that's fucked. Brazil, maybe? It's on the other side of the world. Oh, wow, that's red hot. Cool. Oh, closest border, 0 kilometers. Fuck, what borders with Brazil? Oh, no. My geography is not my strongest suit, okay? Mexico? No, Mexico's up here. Oh, you probably wrote this before I wrote it in, so I'm not going to judge you too harshly for it. Uruguay? Bolivia? I was going to do Uruguay, but then I realized fuck it if I'm trying to spell that. So, hold on. So, that's also red hot, but this is still closer. So, it's Lone Kingdom. Yeah, fuck you. Intes. Okay, fuck you guys. Ooh, Colombia. That's gotta be... Colombia's cooler. So, it's gotta be down here, then. I don't know what's the southern... I don't know what the southern fucking thing of... Does Chile have a thing? Because I know Chile runs like on the side, but I don't know if it has a border with Bolivia or Brazil. I don't know. Chile is warmer. Is it something up here or down here? I don't know. Okay, let's try my original guess. Uruguay. G-U-A-Y? Is that how you'd spell it? No. It's warmer. So I think it's got to be up here. What's the one between Brazil and Argentina? I don't know, fucking all of them, bro. Ecuador? Ecuador? Is that how you'd spell that? Peru. Oh, Peru's a good guess too. No, it's down here. I'm cooked. Portugal? Oh, Portugal's actually not a bad guess. To go. I'm so fucking stupid. Why would I agree with you about Portugal? Am I stupid? I'm so cooked. Oh my god. Peru. Oh my god. We're filling in the entire continent. Argentina. Okay, it's this piece of shit. Whatever this is. I hate this. Paraguay. Oh my, we filled in the entire fucking continent of South America before we got there. This is, oh my god. Ugh. Paraguay? I fucking hate that. I hate that. I don't have any problem with Paraguay itself, but for what it did to me, I'm really upset. Jesus. All right. Like, I'm not kidding. Other than, like, this bullshit up here, which is, like, El Salvador and shit. The only reason I know El Salvador is up here because what's happening with the U.S. with El Salvador at the moment. All right. Are you guys okay if we start, like, 2 minutes early? Well, I mean, you guys don't mind. I guess anyone who's coming in a little on time is gonna... That's just your... Yeah. Fuck. Alright, you guys are probably not gonna mind. It's the people who are coming in like 5 minutes are gonna be like, dude, what the fuck? Yeah, or whatever. It's fine. Audrey, who had set up an urgent communication method with Geo and Forrest, quickly passed on Mr. Fool's message to the two ladies through the huge golden retriever, Susie, claiming that the information she had received came from other sources. In the corner of an old church, as Geo was thinking about how to confirm Lanevus' identity, or how she could create chaos and avenge William, she unfolded the piece of paper. There's no need to confirm. He's Lanevus? The only choice is to notify the Church of Evernight. Alert them that Lanevus has the godhood of the true creator on him. Godhood? The true creator's godhood? Gio blurted out as she looked at the golden retriever in front of her in shock, only to realize that it was equally dumbfounded. What? Forrest was listening when she suddenly felt something was amiss, so she hurriedly reached out for a piece of paper and scanned it. This gotta be a joke, right? How do we get involved with matters that has to do with the evil god's godhood? This was meant to involve the capture of a cunning swindler worth only 200 pounds. In response to Forrest's question, okay, I'm gonna be really nitpicky here. It's just, since Forrest ends in a S, you don't need the apostrophe S, just the apostrophe is good. The tribal chief got speared out of his mind by the big door. What the fuck did I just read? In response to, yes, not expecting a dog to answer a question, she turned her head to Gio and said, I'm afraid that Miss Audrey isn't as naive and innocent as she may have thought. She has many secrets. This might be a power struggle between a cult and the nobles and the church. However, it's evident that she didn't know about the matter of the godhood prior to this. She's also being used by someone. That could be her father, Earl Hall. WWE stuff? Oh, I see. I'm not super into WWE. Like, I know about it in passing. I'm not like super in touch. So I read that and I was like, what am I reading? What's fortunate is that matters end here. You don't need to take the risk anymore. After you get someone to make the report, you just need to wait to collect the bounty in peace. That's true, Gio said. Hopefully those Nighthawks are able to avenge William. They're so strong. They'll definitely be able to do it. Definitely. Before she finished speaking, she turned her head over to the side and spoke as if she was speaking to herself. I'm still too weak. Gio jerked her hand, covering her mouth and nose. I'm still too weak. If not for that, I would have chosen to take revenge myself, but right now, I can only take a step back. Not to mention, there's Giant and those hidden helpers around Lanevus. With just his godhood, he isn't someone I can deal with. With the reaction speed of the Nighthawks, they'll likely take action tonight once they receive the report. The Backland Diocese is second only to the church's headquarters, and they have many sealed artifacts and powerful beyonders. There's no need to wait for any additional helpers. After completing his task of informing Audrey, Klein returned to the real world, stuck on a beard and changed his hairstyle and stared into the mirror for several minutes. He felt anticipation and excitement, as well as depression and a sense of powerlessness. Why do I have a feeling Klein might run into, like, Madame Daly or something? Before the evening started, he left the Quelaag Club and returned to Minsk Street. On his way home, he went to the grocery market and found a stall that was bustling with its great business. He found several masks, including a clown's. Dr. Z, thanks for popping by. How you doing this fine morning? He decided to watch the hunt for Lanevus tonight. He wanted to see the other party pay the price for his madness with his own eyes. Of course, with his strength, he could only watch from a distance. Oh, by the way, is the music too loud or is it okay? Because it feels like it might be overpowering, but you guys let me know. Of course, with his own strength, he could only watch from a distance and not even have the right to approach them. Just a little loud? Okay, we can't hear. Okay, that should be a little bit better. By 11 o'clock, there were many people in their dreams. Klein changed into his grayish blue worker's uniform and disguised himself as he had the night before. Then he put on his cap, walked a few streets away, and took a rental carriage to the Backland Bridge area. Once there, he switched to walking and walked all the way to the East Balam Bridge. His interview yesterday included questions such as where are you staying now and what's the environment like. Therefore, he knew very well that Lanevus would be staying in the dormitory provided by the Union dock at night. However, Klein didn't go near it. Instead, he went around it. His target was the clock tower of the East Balam dock. In Backland, in addition to the large church with its tall, iconic clock tower, many government buildings were also equipped with one. However, they weren't necessarily tall, grand, or ornate. It was mostly built for pragmatic purposes, such as the one in the East Balam dock. Compared to the surrounding buildings that reached a maximum of 3 stories, it was a giant that stood high in the sky as it overlooked the entire area. Klein easily entered the interior of the clock tower and went up the endless flight of spiral stairs as he quickly moved in the darkness. Finally, he arrived at his destination. He arrived at the top of the gigantic wall clock as it was surrounded by the dark yellow face. And at the top of the head was a steeple that could be reached by stretching his hand. Klein took a few steps forward, hid in the shadows, and got a sense of his bearings. He looked towards the Dock Union's dormitory. It was a 2-story building, brick red building, and the occasional pedestrian resembled a black dot in Klein's eye. He stared for a few seconds, then took a step back and sank into the darkness. At the same time, he took out his happily bought mask and wore it. It was a clown with the corners of its mouth sharply raised and a painted red nose. A happy clown. Wearing a clown mask, Klein stood in the darkness, patiently waiting for the predetermined show. He waited for 2 hours. When the hand of the large clock passed 1 o'clock, he suddenly saw something flying from the distance. It was a huge airship covered in black paint. If it weren't for the faint moonlight, it would have been indistinguishable from the night sky. Unlike what was described in the newspapers and magazines, depicting them as machines that emitted great exaggerated mechanical noise, its oars rotated quietly, as silent as a vulture who had found its prey but hadn't found a chance. That solid light alloy supported the cotton frame, and below it hung the compartment for guns, projectile launchers, and cannons. At a glance, it appeared to be a powerful deterrent. What is happening? Is the fucking army pulling up here? What's happening here? It's silent. Is this a temporary result caused by the Beyonder means? Caused by Beyonder means? Klein, wearing his clown mask, looked at the slowly descending airship and made a guess. At this moment, he was most puzzled over the dispatch of an airship for a small-scale Beyonder battle in a densely populated area. Aren't they afraid of dealing collateral damage to the surrounding citizens? Aren't they afraid of causing panic? DSV, how's it going, man? Very soon, the airship hovered about 10 meters in the air. This way, Klein was even less worried about being discovered. His position was much higher than them. Nighthawks pulling up with the airship? Jesus, man. They couldn't just stroll in on like a carriage. No, they had to pull all this shit. They're like, oh boys, listen, we have a slightly difficult mission. Pull out the airship. We're pulling in with the aura. Observing the situation below, he suddenly had a hunch. It was likely that the airship wouldn't engage in combat, but rather provide air surveillance of the area to give the personnel involved in the operation a much better view and prevent the target from escaping if any accidents occurred. That's true, but who would be communicating to them? You don't have like headsets or anything, so how do you communicate to them? Are there a nightmare can't really do that because you're not really sleeping. Can they? Easy Kiki said he was done reading Lord of the Mysteries on stream. I guess, yeah. Alright. How do you come up with this shit unhinged? I gotta say. Right at this moment, three figures dressed in black robes suddenly appeared in front of the two-story brick building. The man in the lead didn't wear a hat, revealing his short golden brown hair and the blackish green eyes which appeared to be as deep as a windless lake. The collars of his shirt and trench coat were propped high, and his palms were covered with a layer of gloves that were as red as blood. A silver-white metal suitcase was wound around his left hand via a chain of the same color. This was probably one of the 9 high-ranking deacons of the Church of the Evernight, Cresset Sesamir, one of the 3 powerhouses of the Red Gloves, and he happened to be in Backland. After looking straight ahead, Sesamir turned his head to the left and said to his subordinate, "Use artifact 163. Oh shit. A grade 1 artifact. Oh, we're pulling out the big guns here. Easy Stream got raided today? Something bad happened, or just like people saying some dumb shit? What happened? Yes, Reverend Sesamir. The Nighthawk crouched down and helped Sesamir untie the chain around his silver suitcase. Throughout the entire process, Sesamir's muscles were very tense, as though he was fighting something. Sesamir is, I don't know if I don't think I have any notes on him. I don't think maybe. Yeah, I didn't make any notes on the guy. I can't remember. Was he a demigod or was he almost a demigod? I can't remember. People saying slurs and shit. That sucks. Goddess sword. Yeah, I remember that. He was known as the Sword of the Goddess. I can't remember if he was sequence 4 or lower. People said slurs. Shit, that sucks. Sequence 5 with strength up to sequence 4. Oh, I see. Okay, that makes sense. All right, thank you guys. Yeah, I remember him having like the bone blade and stuff. Like I remember that. I couldn't remember if he was 5 or 4. The Nighthawk on the left took a deep breath and pressed down suddenly, causing an illusory ripples on the surface of the silver box to crack. The grounding halo suddenly disappeared, as if it was completely sucked into the case. A bone sword that was less than a meter long emitted glossy pure white as it slowly floated up. Its blade had an ancient silver-coated mirror attached to it. The scenes reflected in the mirror were layered and superimposed without end. Wait, hold on. He said red gloves. I also remember that at the end of Volume 1, Leonard said he wanted to join the Red Gloves. Is he here by chance? I mean, I doubt he's joined them so quickly, but maybe. Because, yes. The scenes reflected in the mirror were layered and superimposed without end. The Nighthawk on the left took the mirror and pointed it at the brick red building. The building was clearly reflected in it, and nothing seemed to change. However, Sesamir slowly exhaled, stretched out his left hand, and grasped the short bone sword. The surrounding halo was somewhat restored. Let's go in. He started walking towards the entrance of the brick building. The 3 Nighthawks opened the door and entered the dark building and targeted the stairs that led to the second floor. At that moment, a tall, thin figure emerged from the darkness in the corner. He wore a black priest's uniform. The giant. Shit. You're the goddess sword, the 2-meter-tall giant spoke in a deep voice. At the same time, he clenched his right palm. Bang, bang, bang. The unison members in the small brick red building exploded one after another in their dreams, without even having the chance to scream. Their bodies split into pieces, turning into thick, sticky flesh. Half their bodies rushed towards the giant to weave into cloaks that could reduce magical damage, and the other half condensed into furry giant rugs that blanketed the 3 Nighthawks. What the fuck is happening here? Red Glove is SWAT? Yeah, I don't know if... I feel like it'd be much more like Red Glove would be like... I'm trying to think of a good metaphor. Like FBI maybe or something? Because they're... Because basically what they said was they're the teams that are assigned to like chase criminals down regardless of jurisdiction. So SWAT probably isn't a good metaphor because SWAT is still like in certain jurisdictions. But like probably like FBI is what I'm thinking, like across the country or across the Navy SEALs. Well, military isn't technically allowed to be used against U.S. citizens, so not really even. Interpol? Interpol can work. Interpol can work, yes. Because IRS, yes. Crescent Sesamir only watched silently without doing anything. Silently, the flesh and blood dissipated and collapsed before falling down like rain, but the raindrops didn't stain the floor red. In each of the rooms, figures emerged once again, still sleeping soundly. This is the world within a mirror world that only targets Beyonders. The flesh bomb you planted in the bodies of ordinary people are only illusions here. Sesamir raised his holy artifact in his right hand, causing the light around him to disappear. Wait, what? What did he just do? No, technically not CIA there, because I think CIA, while they have, they're not technically supposed to operate on US grounds. CIA is only for external missions. Again, historically it has happened that they violated that, but FBI is like hey, like we work internally. Homeland Security you can also say is another one, but CIA is strictly on paper supposed to be for external missions, not to touch US citizens. Well, not US citizens, because like a US citizen can be out of country, but like basically they don't operate on a US soil is what I mean to say. Cypherpole? They undid the flesh magic using the non-beyonder. Yeah, exactly. That's based as fuck, dude. Imagine if every church had its own SWAT team. That's what St. Michael is, dude. The giant suddenly grabbed his left shoulder with his right hand and tore off his arm. He then threw the blood arm forward. His arm exploded like a bomb, turning into a rain of blood that rained down on the 3 Nighthawks. At the same time, the flesh on his left shoulder began to squirm madly as he slowly grew a new arm, which was bloody and without any skin. The blood-colored raindrops accurately avoided Sesamir and the others before falling to the ground and quickly corroding into deep, dark traces. Dude, what is this Beyonder power? How is he just turning people into bombs? What the fuck is happening here? But no matter how hard they tried, they always seemed to miss the 3 Nighthawks by a hair's breadth, as if they were fated to do so. What the fuck? My enemies aren't always lucky enough. The corners of Sesamir's mouth curled up with a slip of his foot. He instantly appeared in front of the giant. Giant's eyes narrowed as his body suddenly melted like a candle. Flesh magic. He has placed a flesh bomb in people beforehand? In himself too? Because he just ripped off his own arm and it fucking exploded, right? So are you telling me he's a I don't want to say the words, but like he's a human bomb? By the way, I will say I love the fact that it never says they smiled, because it's so simple. It's like, oh, the corners of his mouth curled up. It's such a fascinating way to phrase that. Giant's eyes narrowed as his body suddenly melted like a candle, turning into a sticky flesh and blood that quickly seeped into the floor. Sesamir immediately kneeled and plunged the holy artifact into the ground. No. In the rich darkness, a roar filled with pain and horror instantly sounded. It was immediately swallowed up by tranquility and serenity. They can blow up their own flesh also? It's just them using their own flesh as a weapon? Yeah, that is creepy as fuck. Sesamir stood up and drew out the bone sword. A drop of dark blood was slowly dripping into its tip, and on the floor, flesh and blood were seeping out, congealing into a face of despair. It was precisely the giant who had a slightly droopy mouth. 3 shadows appeared around Sesamir in succession. However, they all mysteriously collapsed to the ground, having been forcibly taken down by invisible entities. Another Nighthawk fired, and the silver surface of the bullet seemed to bear the Evernight sacred emblem. The 3 attackers hidden in the shadows suddenly revealed themselves, twitching as they lost their breath. Rose Bishop, Shadow Ascetic, people from the Aurora Order. Sesamir frowned and said in a low voice, "There's something wrong about this. It's very strange. All of you, be careful." Saint Michael mentioned, defend us in battle. Yes, the God Sword. The true God Sword. Yes, sir. Before he could finish his words, he heard the shuffling of footsteps which echoed in silence and serenity. Immediately he saw Lanevus with his chiseled face, dressed in a linen shirt, walking down the dark staircase. He appeared calm and placid, without any signs of fear. "I'm very curious. To the Aurora Order, you should be a blasphemer. Why would they send people to protect you?" Sesamir didn't seem to notice the abnormality as he asked casually. Lanevus showed his trademark taunting smile and said, "That's simple. Because I'm no longer just Lanevus. Now, I'm even more of the true creator." He yanked open his linen shirt, revealing the dark red flesh of the skinless chest and abdomen. The flesh and blood were conjoined together, forming the figure of a hanged man. All of a sudden, the void around them shattered like glass, and the scenes around them crumbled. It was the aura of a deity. Jesus Christ. Would you rather smash a Rose Bishop or a Faceless? Hold on, what's the power of a Rose Bishop again? Can manipulate flesh and blood, can hide inside the bodies of others? Faceless, of course. What is that question? They can just become like Scarlett Johansson or something. Oh, God. In the clock tower of the East Balam dock, Klein hid in the darkness while donning a clown mask as he quietly stared into the dormitory of the Union dock with an airship above. He couldn't see the details of the battle, and he had no way of knowing the developments of the operation in the building. All he could do was endure and determine the situation by observing the changes in the surrounding and occasional black dot that passed by. Just then, he saw all the gas lamps in the area extinguish. All of them. It was pitch black there. Right on the heels of that, a feeling that left a deep impression on him exploded from the small red building. Even from a long distance away, he couldn't help but tremble. His legs went soft and he bent his waist. It was the feeling of being looked down upon. A feeling that repressed one's spirit. A feeling that was impossible to resist or face. Do not look directly at God. In his adrift thoughts, Klein seemed to recall the time when he was in the hall of the security company. It was like when he was about to activate his spirit vision to probe the mental state of Magos and the baby in her womb. That feeling was the same as now. No, it's even more terrifying right now. How could this be? Wasn't Lanevus just bestowed with a little bit of godhood? At most, he would have 1 or 2 corresponding items. Why does it feel like an evil god is about to descend? Before Klein could shake the trembling of his body and the numbing of his thoughts, he suddenly felt a deep, serene, and profound darkness envelop the feeling that couldn't be looked at, probed, or resisted. Who the fuck is overpowering a god? Who is this? Excuse me? The two sensations were obliterated at the same time, causing the gas lamps in the surrounding areas to light up again. The airship, which couldn't stop itself from plummeting, floated back up. Everything seemed to return to its original state, even without even the slightest change. But Klein couldn't believe that everything was over. He stood up with all his might, knowing that something important had just happened. The feeling that exceeds a beyonder, at a fundamental level, is no longer there. nor is the feeling of the descent of an evil god. This means that the true creator, or Lanevus' plot, has failed. However, the Nighthawks must have suffered some kind of serious blow. They must not have a lot of strength left. At that moment, Klein's heart stirred. He took out the spirit pendulum and said in a low voice, "Lanevus is no longer dangerous at the moment." After repeating it 7 times, he saw the topaz pendulum rotating counterclockwise, but its frequency wasn't fast and its amplitude wasn't large. So he is dangerous, but not too dangerous. If you transmigrated to the world of Lord of the Mysteries, what would I do? Hope I transmigrate into someone who's rich? I don't know. Not a god, overpowering a god's vessel. He's not descending yet. That's true, but even still, like, what he... Like... I would imagine he's like, Lanevus just has some remnants of the true creator. But, like... I would imagine the baby in Megos was like a fragment. But this feels like way more, no? Isn't that what Klein said? That like he felt like it was way stronger right now. My God, I just had a stroke trying to say that. So wouldn't this be like a? Yeah, you're right. It's not like the entire true creator is here or anything, but like I would imagine a substantial amount of power, like something approaching like that if a demigod was present. No, if I transmigrated, I'd be cooked. You'd be fine. Grade 1 sealed artifact are as powerful as the ashes, plus an army of sequence 6s and 5s. Oh, okay. No, the child was stronger? Oh. Wait, didn't it say... this feeling... this feeling is the same as it was now? No, it's even more terrifying and extreme? It's a smaller amount, but more agitated? Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, that's fine. That showed that Lanevus was still a dangerous man, but to a lesser degree. What caught Klein's attention was something else. The divination hadn't failed. That meant that Lanevus had been separated from the godhood bestowed upon him by the true creator. As the wind blew, seeing that seeping deep into Klein's bones, causing him to shiver, he felt as if an electric current had instantly drilled into his brain from the soles of his feet. What the fuck? Maybe I can do something. He suddenly had this thought and no longer hesitated. He took 4 steps counterclockwise and went above the grey fog, and wrote a divination statement, Lanevus's escape route. He leaned back and quickly chanted the statement. In the illusory separated mystery world, he saw the slush-filled sewers with their dark, dirty tunnels and rusty metal pipes. It was cramped and sealed. It's the sewers. Klein immediately woke up, enveloped his body with spirituality, and descended the grey fog. Wait, is that what was in the sewers, maybe? Oh, wait, that whole thing about, whenever he would go into the Beyonder meetings or whatever, and they'd always be like, man, there's always something in the sewers. Maybe it wasn't like a creature or anything. Maybe it was just like the Aurora Order members or something. What if you transmigrated as Audrey, but also had a grade 0 artifact that is great at concealment? Well, then I just become fucking God, don't I? Because then I can just buy my way into... I can just stick with Spectator, because that's apparently fantastic pathway once you get high enough, because you get the power of fucking imagination. As soon as he returned to the real world, he took a few steps back and came to the side of the clock tower that faced the airship. The black snake who... Klein didn't walk down the spiral stairs, but instead somersaulted over the dark yellow fence. With the help of the platform, the bulging spots, and the decoration on the surface of the building, he jumped down level by level. His body was so balanced, it was as though he was walking on the ground. In a very short period of time, his body stepped on the thick flagstones on the street. I would cause the Count Hall family's bankruptcy. Inside the small red building, 2 Nighthawks wearing red gloves had collapsed by the door. The ancient artifact's silver-plated mirror had rolled to the corner, but it was no longer special. It no longer looked anything like a grade 1 artifact. Wait, so it zapped all the powers of the grade 1 artifact, but it was able to cancel out the thing? The godhood, basically? Or the bit of godhood that existed? However, one could feel that it was recovering bit by bit. Okay, never mind. Crescent Casimir was kneeling at an intersection. A bit of tear-like blood streaked down the corner of his eyes. His short golden brown hair hung limply, and his standing collars on his trench coat were in tatters, revealing his relatively sharp chin and thin, stiff mouth. Gasping for air, distorted, semi-illusory and translucent face appeared on each of his teeth. Casimir braced himself for his left red glowing hand on the ground with difficulty. He straightened his neck and looked straight ahead. Directly in front of him, directly in front of him was the staircase to the second floor, above which stood Lanevus, with his shirt completely unbuttoned. Lanevus stood very straight, with a pure white, smooth bone sword stuck in his chest. The skinless flesh no longer formed the outline of a hanging man's figure, leaving behind a void. Vaguely, one could even see his back through the hole in his chest. Lanevus moved with great difficulty before suddenly laughing. Thank you. I really need to thank you. For real. Look at my sincere eyes. I really want to thank you. If you hadn't discovered me and arrived in time, I would truly become the vessel of the true creator when he descends in a few months. When that happens, how different would it be than dying? Casimir was stunned when he heard that. He refused to believe that the person who had the crutch destroyed thanks to his hard work would be this happy right now. At that moment, he wished to stand, but simply couldn't. He was powerless to resist. When Lanevus saw his confusion, he coughed and said, Do you know, to people like me, it's the most miserable thing when there's no one to share a great accomplishment that I'm proud of. When I was in Tingen, I was deceived by the true creator, who not only initiated the descent of his spawn, but also secretly planted a sapling in my body. No, I even believe that Magos' child was just his ruse. He didn't even get the members of the Aurora Order to protect her to divert attention. It was as though he knew from the beginning that the entire ploy would end in failure. His true descent was set up in me. The godhood he bestowed upon me, combined with the sapling in my body after I reached Backland. Can you imagine? I was being replaced bit by bit by him. In the end, I would eventually become the true creator. Before I came up with a solution, I found the members of the Aurora Order through my godhood. Thankfully, they're all lunatics and simpletons. There are always so many fools. Lanevus spat out a mouthful of foul blood, seemingly recovering some of his mobility. He took a difficult step forward, and with his chiseled face, suddenly turned soft for some unknown reason as he began resembling his original self. Thankfully, if the true creator wishes to fully descend and replace me, he'll need a large amount of pessimism, despair, numbness, resentment, and primitive evil. Only Backland, only East Borough, the factory and dock area, could satisfy his requirements. This gave me the chance to interact with others. I knew that it was unrealistic to report this to the police through the people I interacted with, because the people I come into contact with could very well be Aurora member orders. I initially wanted to instigate a strike to get the police to notice me, but I was warned by someone from the Aurora Order. After being tortured, I could only hastily end it. Lanevus is a crafty bastard? Yeah, Jesus Christ, this is so clever. What the fuck? He was only like a sequence 8, no? He was like Swindler. That's a sequence 8, right? Yeah, sequence 8 Swindler. So this is probably just his, like, a shit ton of IQ, dude. This is like Klein level IQ. Dare I say my level IQ? No, I'm just kidding. What do you think of the IQ of Lord of the Mysteries characters in general? It seems like we're playing a game where there's like 40 characters and they're all as smart as like Kira and Elle. This is, or like a Lelouch or like Eisen. This is just the game we're playing. There's just 40 people and they're all this clever. I know more than one potion that increases the IQ. The music... Is the music K-pop? Because Red Devil is trying to gaslight me to saying it's K-pop music and it's driving me... No, it's not K-pop. What are you talking about? It's Lies of P OST. And this is only low mid sequence? Exactly, yeah. This is crazy shit. I acted as though I was on the brink of losing control, and had gained the opportunity to head into the sewers to vent. During this process, I secretly used my blood to corrupt the creatures living in there, turning them into terrifying mutated monsters. Oh, that's why they were so hard to kill, because they have a little bit of blood of the true creator. Unfortunately, before you could fully investigate the reasons behind it, it was discovered by the Aurora Order. Apparently, a bunch of the members of there died under a mutated monster. Now that I no longer have the godhood of the sapling, my blood no longer causes such effects. After that, I was controlled even more strictly, but I still found an opportunity. I killed a prostitute and used the cruelest method to attract the attention of the police. Who would have thought that the people of the Aurora Order would disguise the case as part of a serial murders? I still failed to receive the rescue I needed. Out of similar opportunities, I could only use a more ingenious method. I took the initiative to request the fiercest, craziest, most radical member of the Aurora Order to watch me, and this suited their thoughts. Can't they use their brains? Such a lunatic would get into trouble at any point. As expected, you guys came. At that moment, Lanevus exhaled and began to move his body, as if he had finally gotten rid of the remnant effects. He pulled out the bone sword from his chest and said regretfully, "What a pity. I can't take it with me. Otherwise I would be quickly tracked and found by you. Fuck! I was really hoping Lanevus would take it, and then Klein would kill him, and then he could take the sword, and then Klein would now have like the basest fucking weapon ever, but no. Alright. There's too much to ask. Fuck. He was the copycat killer? Yeah, I got that. I was really hoping that would happen. Fuck. After the pure white bone sword completely separated from his body, not a single drop of blood remained on the wound. The part that had disappeared didn't seem to belong to Lanevus. Lanevus pressed his right hand against his chest and bowed. The people on the airship outside should be recovering soon. I can't stay any longer. Thank you. Thank you very much. Although you're all very stupid, you ultimately helped me. It's an honor for foolish bastards like yourself. Good night, foolish Nighthawks. Use your lives to send me off. Officials can track sealed artifacts. That's true, but I was thinking Klein could just dump it in the world above the gray fog, and then later on he could try to figure out how to have it not be so and how to not have it be tracked. But yeah, I accounted for that, but. Yeah, I guess that's true. Lanevus wouldn't want to take it with him because then he could be tracked. Grasping the sword in his hand, he abruptly took a few steps forward, attempting to stab at Crescent Sesamir. But at that moment, his eyelids began to grow heavy, as though he was collapsing into a slumber. So he still have some strength. This is troublesome. Lanevus bit his tongue gently and threw the holy sword at the unconscious Nighthawk by the door. No! Sesamir waved his hand with the strength he had accumulated through painstaking means, causing an invisible entity to divert the holy sword. Lanevus seized the opportunity and dashed to the door. He somersaulted out the red building through the window at the washroom at the center of the corridor. Soon after, he opened a manhole cover on the street and quickly climbed into the sewers. Lanevus seemed to be happy at this place. Even though it was dark, he could still run, jump, and turn, quickly fleeing deep into the maze of sewers. Suddenly, he instinctively stopped and leaned back. Hold on. Sorry. I think Kami had sent some music to play. I'm gonna assume it's right about now, or maybe it was supposed to be played sooner. I don't fucking know. But I'm playing it now. Wait, did Kami not send music? Am I losing my mind? Where did Kami send this? It's not in the music. Oh, end of 286? Oh, never mind. Okay, dope. Thank you. A card stabbed deep into his right chest and began dripping profusely from its edge. Lanevus looked up, and with his ability to see in the dark, he quickly attacked. He saw his attacker. It was a medium-sized man in a worker's uniform wearing a mask with a raised mouth and red nose. It was a happy clown. God, beat his ass, dude. beat his ass. Wait, that was end of 286. Fuck. Alright, thank you, Meryl. So we kill Lanevus today. No, fuck that. We kill Lanevus now. Not today. Now. Fuck this bitch, bro. The moment their eyes met, Lanevus ducked and rolled forward. A tarot card with an angel and trumpet shot out like a dagger, embedding itself in the wall, and its position was the same height as Lanevus's neck just moments before. Lanevus rolled, jumped to his side, and threw himself forward, nimbly avoiding the 3 cards that came in succession with abnormal agility. Their collisions with the wall, stabs, and concretes echoed like metal striking at the wall. Meanwhile, out of the corner of his eye, he saw the man in a clown mask was following him closely. Not much slower than he was. In his hand was a thick stack of cards as he launched them with great familiarity and skill. On the surface of an approaching card was the sun, with 5 facial features. With his left hand, Lanevus propped himself up against the wall and leaped into the air, drastically changing his course. At that moment, he heard a swishing sound before he suddenly felt a sharp pain in his ankle. He launched 2 cards. One arrived slightly late and was aimed in the direction I was escaping. Can he foresee my movements? The moment he landed on the ground, he endured the pain and rolled again. Another tarot card embedded itself in the original position, resonating constantly in response to its impact. It was only then that Lanevus noticed a card deeply embedded in his right ankle. The card depicting the stars, water, a water container, and holy water stained in red. Lanevus didn't have the luxury of time to think or treat his injuries. One after another, the cards turned into seemingly sharp daggers, flying at different parts of his body. Very soon, the injuries on his right leg and chest, and the remnants of the effects of the hole in his chest, as well as the prior damage caused by the demigod-level clash, caused the Sequence 9 Marauder to turn sluggish. Wait, he's not a Sequence 9... I thought he was a Sequence 8 Swindler. What does this mean? Because it says he's a Sequence 9 Marauder. What? This was in contrast to the nimbleness and speed that Marauders were known for. He sent a card flying, but a deep laceration tore through his wrist, one that kept bleeding profusely. The Nighthawks and the military will be here soon. I can't delay any longer. At that moment, Lanevus' mind was very clear. He stopped in his tracks, stopped dodging, and allowed the card depicting the devil to strike him squarely in the neck. In almost an instant, the cards sticking out from his body were sent flying. The hideous wounds on his neck, right chest, wrist, and ankle were all squirming madly, sprouting one meat tendril after another in disgusting shapes. In his skin, numerous small goosebumps appeared. Those goosebumps had a metallic tint to them, as though they had turned into a set of armor. A tarot card was shot over, but it was deflected by the fine goosebumps. The truth is, Lanevus, you could go Super Saiyan right now, but we checked your future, and you fucking die here, bro. God, kill this bitch first. We'll deal with everyone else later. God. With bloodshot eyes, Lanevus stared at the clown who put away his cards after coming to a halt. He said, half laughing, half mocking, "No matter what, after being tormented by a deity, one will always get something in return." Before he could finish his words, he had already jumped over the polluted waters in the canal with his left foot, throwing himself at the enemy opposite. As if expecting this, Klein stepped to the side, pulled out his left hand out of his pocket, clenched it into a fist, and threw it at Lanevus' temple. Lanevus swung his elbow sideways and raised his forearm, accurately hitting his opponent's fist. The explosive force raged like a torrential tide, causing Klein's body to move from the side, causing Klein's body to move from the impact as he staggered a little. Crisp explosives blasted in Klein's ears, punches, each heavier and faster than the last, constantly reflected into his eyes. The flurry of attacks made him seem to forget to maintain his balance. He staggered and fell to his side. Then, with the support of his left elbow, he rolled in a different direction. Lanevus' punches and kicks came quickly and ferociously, almost hitting Klein a few times, but thanks to his exaggerated balance and movements that defied common sense, he managed to dodge successfully. At times, he would be on the wall and at others on the ground. It was as though he was performing an aerobic act. He appeared very calm without the slightest bit of impatience. It was as though he had decided to drag out the battle as long as possible until the Nighthawks and military arrived. If that's the case, Klein is literally here. He's like, I'll go to jail. The Nighthawks can catch me. They can do whatever they want. I don't give a shit. As long as you fucking die, it don't matter. This is like the whole, you can't beat me, I'm prepared to die sort of bullshit. And once there were any signs of Lanevus attempting to escape, he was hell-bent on pestering him and not giving him an opportunity to do so. Lanevus's punch forced Klein to use the rebound from the wall to fly back into the air. As for himself, he didn't hesitate to turn around and flee towards another tunnel. The moment Klein's toes touched the ground, his body shot out like a cannonball as he pounced straight for Lanevus's neck. Klein doesn't give a fuck. Yeah, he is like, dude, you killed my captain, okay? Oh, wait, I know. Hold on. This is the kind of shit he's willing Klein's pulling right now. Klein's just straight up sitting there. He's like, I don't give a fuck what happens, alright? You're dying here, motherfucker. Yeah. The moment Klein's toes touched the ground, his body shot out like a cannonball, and he pounced straight for Lanevus's neck. At that moment, an image appeared in his mind. It seems as if Lanevus has no bones. I should force him to twist his upper body and land a punch on his body. That was a clown's intuition. Without any doubts or hesitation, Klein took the initiative to reduce his subsequent strength. With a smacking sound, he still threw himself forward, but much weaker than expected. With a jarring noise, Lanevus twisted his upper body, seemingly suddenly with his legs remaining immobile. His face faced backwards as his toes pointed forward. Jesus Christ. In such a terrifying scene, Lanevus threw a punch towards Klein's head. The force of the punch was so strong that even the air produced an explosive boom. But his fist hit nothing but air, and his fist was still 20 or 30 centimeters from Klein's face. The wind that stirred from the punch blew through Klein's hair, but he didn't take the opportunity to attack. Instead, he croaked a single word in ancient Hermes: crimson. A charm? Lanevus crunched his face as he immediately jumped to the side in a bid to dodge the impending attack. However, Klein had yet to throw the charm. Instead, he clenched his left fist tightly and followed in the direction of Lanevus. He similarly threw himself to the side and rolled on the ground, causing the distance between them to only widen slightly. It was a bluff. Just as his thought flashed past his mind, the highly raised corners of the clown's mouth were clearly reflected in his eyes. There was also a dark red flame which had unknowingly ignited in the clown's left fist. Lanevus's gaze immediately froze. A light crackling sound entered his ears, and a calm, tranquil feeling emanated instantly, enveloping him and Klein. What does he want to do? He wants both of us to be affected? To allow for the Nighthawks and military to rush in here? Lanevus's eyes drooped heavily, and the fatigue and weakness that he had suppressed began to rear their heads uncontrollably. He did his best not to fall asleep, hoping to rely on the uniqueness of his body to endure through the most intense period. As for Klein, he didn't choose to resist at all, and quickly entered a deep slumber. However, whenever he fell into sleep unnaturally, he would instinctively wake up. That was a unique thing about him when fighting mediumship and dream invasions. That was the reason he had been lucky enough to escape from the hands of Madame Sharon back in Tingen. In the fight just now, after throwing his cards proved ineffective, he immediately took out the slumber charm and gripped it tightly in his palm, waiting for the opportunity to affect them both. In a split second, he forcibly broke free from the abnormal state. The figure of the staggering Lanevus was clearly in his eyes. Klein suddenly became very calm, as though what was before him was nothing but a target. Oh shit. He took a deep breath and turned his wrist, pulled back his shoulder before thrusting his fist forward with all his strength. His fist landed ruthlessly at Lanevus's throat, breaking his bones and splattering his flesh. Lanevus took 2 steps back and leaned against the wall. The intense pain finally allowed him to extricate himself from the slumbering effects. But the fine iron-colored goosebumps on his skin were all gone. After Klein's punch landed, he reached into his pocket and pulled out 2 cards. The 2 cards stabbed into an eye as scarlet liquid gushed out. Lanevus surprisingly endured the pain without letting out a single cry. Instead, he abruptly threw himself forward in a bid to make his last stand. Klein didn't take advantage of his situation to attack. Having long expected this, he turned his body to the side and took a step back. Right on the heels of that, while seizing the moment while Lanevus fell forward, he took 2 steps and arrived behind him. He reached out with his hands and grabbed the enemy's neck. Holy shit, is he just gonna try to strangle him? Hold on. Klein's arms exerted force as he suddenly turned around, twisting Lanevus's neck. After doing all of this, he took 2 steps back and looked at his enemy. With the cards embedded in him, Lanevus looked ahead weakly as he slumped to the ground. At the same time, he was so confused. Why do you want to kill me? No reason. No. With his eyes wide open, Lanevus collapsed to the ground in the sewers, unable to accept his fate. Finally, his breathing came to a stop. He didn't even give him a reason. He didn't even give him a, oh, you killed my cat. No reason. Nah, you just die. At that moment, Klein, who seemed to be very calm, stepped forward, tightened his right leg, and with all his strength, kicked him in his head. His neck, which had been already badly mutilated, could no longer bear the pressure and was sent flying like a rubber ball. It slammed into the wall, creating a red and white patch. Upon seeing this, Klein crouched down and started laughing crazily. With a suppressed voice, the clown mask looked so very happy. The corners of his raised lips, the bright red nose, and the face that wore a very happy expression. Klein laughed himself so much that he went out of breath. His laughter was more jarring than crying. After a few seconds, he finally calmed down, straightened his body, and winked with his left eye at the darkest part of the sewer. He then smiled. Captain, look, we've saved Lone once again. Droplets of liquid quietly slid down and landed on his collar. At that moment, he felt his clown potion had been digested completely. Fuck! Oh shit, that's such a good way to... Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh, you know when Klein says no reason... What the fuck is it? You know when Klein says no reason? This is what it reminds me of. Hold on. I'm only going to show a little bit because I'm going to get fucking DMC'd into oblivion. Oh, where would it be? Yeah. Nah, just, you don't even fuck it. I don't give a fuck what you have to say, bitch. You don't even get a reason. Fuck off. Loser. Oh, that was so hard, Klein. What the fuck? That was so good. Is here? Yeah. Oh my god. That was actual peak. What the fuck? Oh, that was so good. Now, hopefully, he should get some dope shit off of him. If not, it doesn't even matter, because he digested his clown potion. He can now become a fucking magician. I mean, he just needs the, whatever. What bullshit does he need? Some Black Panther bullshit or something. But, like, he'll get that. No problem. In the dark sewers, Klein wiped his neck and turned his attention back to Lanevus's cracked head and decapitated body before turning the 2 of the cards that were stuck in Lanevus's eye. He originally wanted to retrieve all the projectiles he had thrown and wipe away any clues. However, he realized that would be a real serious problem. Since he didn't have the vision to see in complete darkness, he relied on spirit vision to rush through the black sewers and engage in an intense battle. He could see all the colors of Lanevus's aura, the spirituality radiance of all the critters, and could faintly use the light's illumination to distinguish the path. But the tarot cards he was using didn't have the same ones as the one that came from the Nighthawk. It didn't have any spirituality or silver engravings. It was completely ordinary with no special effects. Wait, hold on. I was under the impression this whole time that Klein had his tarot cards from the Nighthawks. You're telling me he did all this with regular tarot cards? Just like playing cards? Because Klein's tarot cards from the Nighthawks had like silver linings on the edges. So like it made, so obviously it was way stronger to hit, and it cut through what I'm guessing is like spirits and stuff. Because silver is like purifying or some bullshit. Hold. He was just doing that with playing cards? Fuck. Oh, that is hard as fuck. Oh my god, that is so hard. Holy shit. Yeah, no, I knew that, Ramiro, but like, since he was hitting someone as strong as Lanevus, I expected that. And plus, since it mentioned that basically, like, as soon as he came back to life, they started mentioning the tarot cards again. So I figured, like, oh, he was buried with his tarot cards because they were his or whatever. No, he was using plain tarot cards and a clown's ability to just, oh, that is so good. Holy shit. Oh my god, my fucking goat, dude. Holy shit. All right, that's it. Oh my god, that is so good. Oh my, that was an amazing fight. In such an environment, Klein could use his own aura color and spirituality to create a tiny radius around him where he could distinguish things. But he couldn't see the cards stuck in the wall or in the ground, as well as the spots that had been scattered everywhere. Look at art? Oh, sure. We'll do that now. Sure. Yeah, no problem. Oh my god, that was so hard. God, that was so good. Artwork. Oh, you die here, bitch. Oh, that is so good. Tarot cards everywhere. Wait, so are you telling me he's just gonna leave this and the Nighthawks are gonna walk in and go, hold on, what the fuck happened here? Oh my god, that's even better. Yeah. Get the credit for it. Oh, okay, well, yeah. Dude, revenge is a dish that tastes best when cold. That's not how that saying goes, but close enough. Fuck, that is so many tarot cards everywhere. Yeah, holy shit. Wait, where is this from? Are you telling me someone like did their own manga-esque thing for this? Fan manga fight? Dude, that's so dope. Holy shit. Oh my god, that looks so cool. Oh, his ankle's been cut, his leaning, and all this shit. Predict my actions. Oh, this is so cool. After playing with the gods even once, you will be blessed. I don't give a fuck, dude. Oh, that is so cool. Oh, that's so well done. No emotion. This motherfucker's doing nothing. No smiles, no anger, nothing. Oh, dude. This fandom is actually goated. There's so many talented people. Dude, I don't know who drew this, but get this man a job with little money and no free time at Mappa. What the fuck? Wait, hold on. Um, just 2 cards goes around and just. Oh. If only someone could do this for COI. Yeah. Oh, that is so well done, dude. These are so good. Just a little bit, Nightwalker. We just saw Lanevus get fucking obliterated by the goat. Barely any art for COI. Oh. Should I watch all of this? Fuck it. Yeah, I don't mind. I'm gonna be streaming for forever this night anyway. God, tomorrow morning's gonna be a fucking nightmare. I have to get up in 6 hours. Fuck it. Yeah, it's fine. Oh, sorry. Let me turn the music off. I'm gonna go. Oh, it's the same. This is so good. Oh my god, this is so good. I'm so. Oh my god. It don't matter. It don't matter, baby girl. It don't matter what kind of benefits you got. Oh my, I'm actually astonished how good this looks. That is so well done, dude. That is so well done. Oh, that is so well done. I'm so like I actually don't have words. Fuck, that is so well done. That's actually crazy. Okay. Okay. In in the intense battle with Lanevus, they hadn't restricted themselves to a particular spot. Of course, he believed that as long as he had enough time, it wouldn't be difficult to find all the tarot cards he had thrown out, But the main problem was the Nighthawks and the military that on the airship that could arrive at any moment. Dude, that fight was like 12 out of 10. I don't know. That was so fucking good. That was so hype. That was a fight that I could put up with like solo leveling in terms of like aura farming. That was so good. Klein the entire time is like, you're strong, you're fast, you're this, you're that. You have gifts from divine. I don't give a fuck what you have. You die here. This is your grave. God, that was so good. I can't be too careless regarding this. I've been wearing gloves all this time. The deck of the tarot card that was brought before coming to Backland is standard across the nation. I don't usually use it. Most of the time, even if I have it with me, it's placed together with Azek's copper whistle. Regardless of the methods used, it would be very hard to locate me with this. At most, they would be able to restore a portion of the battle scene, but I wear a mask and my shoes are padded. All sorts of thoughts flashed past Klein's mind, and he quickly came to a decision. He turned to the headless corpse, crouched down. Reaching with his black-gloved hand, he quickly searched for the items left behind. Klein didn't have the intention of carrying out a mediumship ritual. Firstly, the feeling of the god's descent had left a deep impression on him, so he didn't dare blindly channel Lanevus' spirit unless he had brought it above the grey fog. Secondly, with the situation of the Nighthawks and military arriving at any moment, he didn't feel that he had enough time to set up the ritual and summon himself, and then go above the grey fog to channel the spirit. I should give up when it's necessary, Klein silently muttered to himself as he withdrew his hands from Lanevus' corpse. Wait for the fight between... That's not rage bait, Devil. I just mean in terms of like aura farming. I'm not saying like the fight is better or worse than solo leveling. I'm just saying like the thing that solo leveling does exceedingly well is that aura farming. It's that like, you know, it's that mindless or like free dopamine or whatever, right? And dude, that was so good. So like, yeah, 10 out of 10, 12 out of 10. I don't know. Pick a number, just whatever. This crazy swindler seems to be in a hurry when escaping. He didn't bring any cash, materials, or charms. He only had an eye-sized badge on him, which coruscated a faintly spiritual radiance. Klein wasn't afraid that this item could be used to locate him, as he planned on throwing it above the grey fog to study it slowly. Therefore, he stood up and put the badge in his pocket. Guys, okay, sorry, just forget about it. I can't say solo leveling with you guys without it being like, excuse me. It's like, actually crowd, like, okay, chill. It's fine. Just forget it. Forget I said anything. It's all good. He stole a glance at Lanevus' corpse, and without waiting for the Beyonder characteristic to appear, he used his black glove to remove the remaining tarot cards. He then stretched out his left hand, placed his palm directly above Lanevus' corpse. All of a sudden, Klein released his grip, allowing the tarot cards to fall like leaves cascading over a headless corpse. Some of them faced up with the pictures and numbers printed on them, while others had a dark red pattern on their backs. After doing all this, he took out Azek's copper whistle, tossed it a few times, and without looking back, ran deep into the sewers. After almost 2 minutes, figures arrived at the place, some of them wearing thick black trench coats, while others having well-tailored military uniforms. The leader of the group was Crescent Sesamir, who had a pure white bone sword, and his red glove was smeared with dust, and his determined face showed obvious signs of fatigue and frailty. He stopped a meter away from his body, and through the means of their night vision, they could see Lanevus' corpse and his head against the wall. I'm going to go back now. Like as in, you're going to watch what already happened, Nightwalker, or like you're leaving? There were 2 tarot cards stuck in his head. One was the Emperor and the other the Wheel of Fortune. The headless body was covered with even more cards, each separately depicting the Chariot, Hermit, Death, and more cards. All on the wall and the ground around him, there were also tarot cards such as the Devil, Sun, and Judgment. It all looked like the scene of some bizarre ritual, and Lanevus was the sacrificial offering that was destined to be sacrificed. Oh, okay. Sounds good, buddy. Oh, hey Blaze, thanks for popping by. I don't recommend you stick around though, but you're gonna get spoiled very quickly. uh, Before he had already dealt. Sorry, far away from. No, where am I? Crescent Sesamir drew a silent gasp as he silently knitted his brows. The beyonders around him fell into a momentary daze at the sight of this frightening and mysterious scene in the darkness. Far away from the scene of Lanevus' death, Klein quickly found an exit and left. He took off his clown mask and in the shadows of the gas lamp, quickly walked towards the East Burrow. First time here. What part is this? 22. We are on. Yes, ended Lanevus. All right, does it? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Let me know. Let me know how if you had a similar thing, Blaze. Before that, he had already dealt with the stains on the soles of his shoes. It was only when he reached the Black Palm Street in the East Borough did he breathe a sigh of relief. He then quickly held a ritual to summon himself inside his rented apartment and responded to himself. In his spiritual state, Klein moved all the clothes he had worn tonight, as well as the remaining charms, herbs, and essential oils, as well as the badge he had obtained from Lanevus to the space above the grey fog. Dude, I love how Klein is currently using the space above the grey fog, which is like some fucking grade 0 level bullshit, as basically like a spare apartment. Like, what the fuck? He then used a spiritual flame to burn all the corresponding clues. He exhaled and finally had time to take a look at what the badge he had taken from Lanevus looked like. This badge was about the size of an eyeball. On the front was a symbol that depicted fate and concealment. Behind it was the ring of behind it, in a ring, was tiny and compact words in ancient Hermes. You can join if you have this item. Grey Fog VPN? He's not even using it like a VPN. He's using this like... How would I put this? He's using it like... he's using this like... Norton antivirus. Like some useless piece of shit. Like, Jesus. What does this mean? Was Lanevus also a part of some secret organization? Klein rubbed his temples. In a situation where he was physically and mentally exhausted, along with the fact that the timing wasn't right, he decided to give up on his research and leave it until after the Tarot Club gathering. Bro, use it as a Discord server, a VPN storage. He quickly left the mysterious space above the grey fog, changed into another set of clothes, and removed his disguise. However, he was in no hurry to return to Mint Street. He planned to sleep for the night before leaving. This was because it was easy to be inspected after midnight, especially when such an incident just occurred. He laid down on the bed, looked out the window, and gradually calmed down. After completing his initial revenge, he felt that he had relieved himself of a lot of burdens and lost a lot of pressure. His mental state was clearly a lot better than before. The present me isn't capable of handling Inkzone Quill and the sealed artifact. Besides, the gap between us is huge. Only after becoming a high-sequence Beyonder, a demigod, will I have the qualifications to involve myself in such matters. Before advancing to Sequence 4, I'll act as though they don't exist. Where there is Lord of the Mysteries, I am there. Yes. For the foreseeable future, my goal is to work hard and improve myself. Now that I've completely digested this clown potion, I can advance to magician before I become... once the Beyonder ingredients are gathered. Oh, he's doing that while we're streaming, I promise. There's still Faceless, Marionettist, and the corresponding Sequence 4, which I don't even know the name of. Other than that, I'll just be an ordinary detective. Klein's mind was calm and peaceful, and his thoughts were scattered as he thought about his future arrangements. He was no longer cranky or that depressed. As he thought about it, the corners of his mouth curled up as he silently muttered to himself, "Captain, Benson, Melissa, I believe all of you would prefer to see me like this." At dawn, a group of people wearing surgical hats and white masks came to the Dock Union dormitory. They were all dressed like doctors. The elder in the group appeared to be rich in experience as he said, "We've discovered an infectious disease in this building. A person named Kevin has already passed away because of it. We will provide free treatments. The infectious disease has a special drug. As long as you take it in time, you'll be fine." Kevin? One by one, they were all exclaimed in astonishment as they looked around for their colleague named Kevin. But they didn't find him. That was Lanevus' alias. That makes sense. The disease they're talking about, is that the bomb that was implanted, or? Seeing that the charity's medical team was accompanied by police officers, the residents no longer had any doubts and began to line up nervously for their medication. The first was a middle-aged man with a bushy beard. He nervously asked all sorts of questions, afraid that a single bottle of medicine wasn't potent enough to fight off the infectious disease. It wasn't until the doctors showed their impatience that he drank the blue bottle of medicine. Then he was helped to the side and aimed at his mouth a hole that was of the same size. What? The man suddenly felt nauseous as he violently vomited a putrid blob of bloody substance. That's the flesh bomb, right? It has to be. He was about to prop himself up and cast his gaze on what he had just vomited when two strong nurses yanked him away. The mouth-sized hole was located above the iron black metal barrel. The bottom of the barrel was dark and deep, with almost no light coming from it, and right there, a pool of yellowish-green liquid was quietly resting at the bottom. In the middle of the pool was a small piece of blood-colored meat. One by one, the residents took the medicine and vomited in front of different metal barrels. In the Empress Borough, the opulent villa of Earl Hall. "Why did you visit so suddenly?" Audrey looked at the sky. As she then asked Viscount Glaint. Glaint looked around and found a golden retriever sitting beside him as he whispered, "I'm planning to go to the turf club, but I met Kance on the way. He told me something very interesting. It's truly interesting. Since I was passing by here, I thought of coming in to share it with you." "What is it?" Audrey asked. "You should have heard of the Aurora Order, right? It was the Aurora Order that assassinated the Intis ambassador. They were caught, with several important members killed, and a very large ploy was fooled. I thought it was something related to the godhood of the true creator. Zhu and Forrest sent someone to report the information yesterday, and it just happened that the operation was held last night. Wait, the Aurora Order apparently worships the true creator." "What ploy?" she asked. "I don't know. Kance refused to answer. He just told me that the person in charge was once a wanted swindler named Lanevus." As expected, Audrey nodded indiscernibly. "Was he caught?" "He's dead, but he wasn't killed by our people. This is what I mean by interesting. When the body was found, it was covered with tarot cards. Same for the surrounding. You can imagine that scene." Tarot cards? The body was covered in tarot cards. This was done by our tarot club. It was Mr. Fool's adorer. Now it says blessed, but I'm going to stick to adorer because that's what I'm used to, okay? Well, here's the thing. Klein doesn't even need to aura farm with Audrey. Audrey is just his day one, okay? Audrey is like day one. The first time she saw him, she went, "Holy shit, this is a godlike being. Oh my god. Whatever he asks me to do, I'm here for it," okay? So he doesn't even need to aura farm with her. But I appreciate how much she loves Mr. Fool. I appreciate it. Audrey, who thought she knew the truth, couldn't help but imagine the scene described by the Viscount. Then there's Alger. Well, he was first I guess he still is the more conserved person regarding Mr. Fool. But that being said, ever since he saw the Vice Admiral get fucking murked, he's come to a lot more heels. But he still thinks like he's an evil god who's like being limited or some shit. So he's coming up with his own bullshit theories. Lanevus lying in the mud in the darkness, covered with rows and rows of tarot cards. There's the Fool, Justice, the Hanged Man, the Sun, the World, and the other major arcana cards. They would either be overturned or faced upright. There'd be some left unturned, exposing only their backs, as if it was all a part of a large, eerie tarot divination. This kind of scene must be shocking. I wonder where the card for justice landed. How would the Beyonders of MI9 and the Church view this? Would they believe that a new organization has entered? By possessing the godhood of the true creator, the ploy between Lanevus and the Aurora Order must definitely be significant. It definitely would have been a terrible disaster to Backlund and the kingdom, yes. Yet, this ploy was so easily fooled by a simple mission of Mr. Fool. This is a tussle at the level of deities. Yes, Alger sees him as someone to take advantage of. I don't know if he sees him as someone to take advantage of, but he says he's like, oh, like, I want to be careful because, like, he's getting stronger. And it's like, kind of, but you ain't doing shit in that. It was like, whatever that saying was, it was like, yeah, but if, you know, if NATO goes to war, Bolivia says they're helping, but they're kicking in dick. So, like, that whole, like, Alger, calm down. You're vastly overestimating what you're doing, buddy. Mr. Fool and the true creator are considered arch nemesis? It's no wonder he calls the other party the fallen creator. Many thoughts flashed past Audrey's mind as her body began to faintly and imperceptibly tremble. What are you thinking about? The Viscount asked. Aubrey abruptly snapped out and said, oh, didn't you tell me to imagine the scene of the corpse covered in the tarot cards? Glade awkwardly smiled and sighed. I wonder which organization killed Lanevus. It really matches how I imagine things to be. It's so cool. It's our tarot club, Audrey simply answered. Perhaps there's no organization, but the independent act of a powerful beyonder. Really? I like this style. Urge Gio and Forrest and ask them to find my apothecary formula, Glade said in excitement. God, I still think that is so boring. I think if I had to rank them, apothecary is number 21 out of 22. What a loser. Audrey widened her eyes, looked around and said, hush, keep it down. How can you talk about potions here? Glade gave an indifferent smile. Don't worry, it's nothing. I already confirmed that that other than you and me, there's only the dog. Dr. Z, you know, it's your favorite. The huge golden retriever, Susie, uncontrollably shifted her position. Yes? And again, you've told me that, like, Reader is really good and, like, it has no drawbacks or whatever. I don't care. The simple fact that it's called a Reader, I'm out. It's like, if something comes up on Shark Tank and Mark Cuban immediately hears the first sentence and goes, I'm out, like that. that's me. Okay. Okay. Hold on. Fucking nerd. Yeah, exactly. Hold on. Okay. So wait, I didn't have my fucking photos up. All right, whatever. It's too late now. Okay, listen. I base my rankings on two things. Okay, I only care about two things. First, that's literally what you are right now. Shut up, Nagitsu. You're about to get banned, bitch. These are the only two factors I care about. Okay, I don't give a shit about a third. Coolness factor is first and foremost, and then it's usefulness. Like, combat ability matters, but only so much as that it's only a small portion of its utility. So these are the only two things I give a shit about. Okay, coolness is first. So let's say, like, Reader is like negative 9,000 coolness. Okay. But usefulness, Dr. Z says, like, it's really useful and has very little drawbacks. So it might be like plus 5,000. Like, it might be just like, even if I grant that it's the best one, well, you add these up and it's still at negative 4,000. Okay. So get fucked, really. No, not this one. You guys like this one. Sorry. Those are the only two things I care about. Eventually, once I get a little bit further into it, I plan to rank all 22, and everyone's gonna hate me. Everyone's gonna hate my ranking. It's gonna be hated across the board because people are gonna be like, "No, you see, but sequence 7 of that one is hyper." I don't give a shit, nerd. Reader is so good to the point that we saw 4 characters use it in the entire book. Um, Northborough in Backland, inside a room beneath the St. Samuel Cathedral. Daly, who was wearing a black hooded robe and makeup with blue eyeshadow and red blush, gave off a charming yet cold feeling. She randomly found a seat and picked up the document on the table. She swept through it before her gaze suddenly froze. Lanevus? Why wasn't I informed of this matter? Why didn't you inform me about the operation last night? Sitting at the seat of honor, crested Sesamir, who had hidden his chin and lips below back into his propped-up collar, said deeply, I was afraid that you wouldn't be able to control your emotions. You would have brought unnecessary danger to the operation. So I didn't get anyone to inform you. I can understand how you feel. A Nighthawk from the Tingent Squad is currently undergoing guidance and training at the Holy Cathedral. He plans on joining the Red Gloves, and his performance is about equal to yours. But as the person in charge of the operation, and as a high-ranking deacon, I had to eliminate all unstable elements. My go fucking Leonard, yes, let's go. His performance is equal to yours? Daly in the church is considered like a once-in-a-generation level fucking genius in terms of digestion, right? So, he's killing it. Why do you think I won't be able to control my emotions? I'm very calm and won't act rashly. This is like the type of shit your girlfriend says to you before she fucking loses her mind. My anger will only erupt after Lanevus is caught. This is the professional bearing of a veteran Nighthawk and Deacon. If I had caught Lanevus, I would have let him know that men can be weak too. I will make sure that a cold, rotten, yet stiff corpse would be situated behind his buttocks. What the fuck? Jesus Christ. I would make sure that a pungent white bone filled with thorns would be situated in front of him, and I'd make it so that cold little fellows would enter and leave his body whenever they can. Damn it, you actually managed to let him die just like that? How long have you been putting up with it? Sesamir looked at Daly calmly and sighed, listening to her until she was done. How long have you been putting up with it? Daly froze. For a very long time. Got anything? From our preliminary investigation, the person who killed Lanevus is a member of the Secret Order, Sequence 8 Potion Clown. He's adept at using paper cards as flying knives. A deacon reported based on his findings. However, we are unable to confirm the guess. The tarot cards scattered around the corpse don't seem like they were concealing anything. After all, the Beyonder didn't deal with the cards on the wall and in Lanevus' head. We believe that the final scene was more of a ritual or symbolism. Therefore, we believe that the Beyonder might belong to an organization we don't understand. Of course, the scene might also just be a personal preference. Sesamir nodded and said, we can start from that point and proceed with a follow-up investigation. Ayur, any updates on the person who tipped us off? The middle-aged, charming man, Ayur Harson, flipped through the papers in his hand and said, we investigated the person and discovered that the actions were directed by a bounty hunter. In the process of looking for the wanted criminal Lanevus, the bounty hunter's companion was killed by a member of the Aurora Order. In order to exact revenge, she carried out an investigation and eventually locked onto the target in the Workers' Alliance Tavern in the East Balam Dock. That person's targets and actions, based on that person's actions and lifestyle, she discovered Lanevus. Her actions have basically been verified by witnesses. There isn't anything strange. We also used Beyonders to confirm that she had no connections with the person who killed Lanevus. She's in hiding now, and it's very hard to find her. Sesamir added while seemingly in deep thought. This fits well with Lanevus' description, that the radical and insane members of the Aurora Order were helping him. Is there any problem with the reporter who did the interview at the Union that afternoon? He was a fake reporter, and according to the news from the police department, he's actually a private detective who had previously helped Mike Joseph of the Daily Observer. Joseph was already investigating the murder of Cyber. We believe that he got some kind of lead, found the Dock Union, and disguised himself to get in touch with everyone. This has already been confirmed by Isengard. Sesamir acknowledged it before switching to the people to ask about other people who had recently come into contact with Lanevus, but similarly got answers that had nothing wrong with them. Man. And they were so close, but again, reading that, if I looking from the outside in, I'd be like, private detective, kind of makes sense, no problem. After some deliberation, he said, I'm very confused by the lack of motive for the murder of Lanevus. The mysterious murderer deserves our attention. We should continue to follow up. In addition, according to common sense, the Aurora Order definitely wouldn't have Beyonders at the Rose Bishop and Shadow Ascetic level in a big city like Backland. There should at least be an oracle, or perhaps even a saint. Their ploy of receiving the true creator's descent has failed. With their crazy and irrational traits, I'm worried they'll launch into a series of retaliatory acts. All of you be on high alert in the future. I'll also be staying in Backland. Oh shit. Alright. So, by the way, I will say, like, Ayur Harson, who's like a really small name. I'm so astounded that that he came back. Ayur Harson was there for like, what, 5 chapters? Maybe? Like 3? And yet, instead of just picking up a new Evernight Church person with a different name, he brought him back. That's really cool. It's funny how everyone will now think that Klein did the interview because he was investigating the copycat. Exactly. Crescent Sesamir paused for a few seconds before adding, the events of Magos' incident in Tingen and last night's incidents have revealed a problem. The industrial area, the dock area, and the East Borough have become a hotbed for the descent and nurturing of evil gods. You are to send people to investigate and gather information about the situation. If it truly is as Lanevus had described, I'll raise this matter to the Council of Cardinals, formally exerting pressure on the kingdom and government to bring about corresponding changes as soon as possible. I love how it's like, oh, people are suffering? Fuck it. You know, life is suffering. Don't even, whatever. They'll be fine. People are suffering, and it might bring about and it might affect like the rich people. Holy shit! See if this is the case, and then we have to bring this up to Cardinals. Okay, we have to go to the king. We have to get this figured out. Okay, they need rights. It's like, hold on. As long as their suffering is condensed to just them, no problem. When it starts affecting everybody else, we are real shit. Klein slept in and didn't wake up until it was late. However, it still wasn't bright enough outside. The area was still shrouded in fog and making it dark and cold. This doesn't fit with my splendid mood, he grumbled. After changing his clothes and taking his key, he returned to Minsk Street unnoticed. After changing his worker uniform to casual home attire, a shirt and sweater, and after confirming that no one had come to investigate him, he was completely at ease. He leisurely went out to the butcher and grocery store to buy food in preparation for a sumptuous lunch for himself. There was some afternoon sun in Backland, and Klein lazily basked in its warmth, momentarily having no desire to do anything at all. He waited until 15 minutes to 3, then took out his pocket watch and went above the grey fog. Wait, it's Monday? Did they say it's Monday? After conjuring the world, the fake world, and familiarizing himself with its control, he sat down on the chair on one end of the table and sent a message to the sun to prepare himself for the gathering. At precisely 3, according to the Backland time, streaks of crimson light soared out of the vast and ancient palace, outlining blurry figures that were equally indistinct. Audrey simply looked towards the seat of honor and said, "Good afternoon, Mr. Fool. The simple mission you entrust has been completed." She had deliberately emphasized the word simple in order to ascertain from Mr. Fool whether Lanevus had really been eliminated by his blessed. She wanted to know if the tarot-covered card was if the tarot-covered death scene was a symbol of the Tarot Club. Klein smiled and said, "I'm already aware." After saying that, he sighed. In such an age, in a place such as Backland, in a place such as the East Borough, the dock area, and the factory district, they're the hotbed for an evil god's descent. What? Alger was stunned, wondering if there was something wrong with his ears. Why would a simple mission involve hotbeds for an evil god's descent? Yeah, Alger, you ain't shit, bitch. Oh, God. Oh, my God. All right. Now, okay, so he's got to be getting a magician soon. Because again, by my count, the average between him digesting a potion and getting the next one is like 9 chapters. So it's got to be coming quick. Probably tomorrow morning or something. Oh my god. I remember that a simple mission given by Mr. Fool was for the sole purpose of examining 2 people for their candidacy of joining the gathering. The general idea was to bring the person in the portrait and the person that was confirmed to be in Backland. Alger Wilson tried to remember what had happened at the last gathering, but couldn't understand what it had to do with the hotbed of an evil god. Wasn't it just the search for someone? Furthermore, it was the kind of task which didn't pose much of a threat. Was there a much deeper purpose behind Mr. Fool's simple mission? Was this a silent contest between deities? Many thoughts went through the hanged man's mind instantly, and he couldn't stop himself from asking justice. Tempted to pay in order to understand what exactly was going on, he's like, dude, I'll give you money. I just need to understand, what am I involved in? However, as a veteran official beyonder, a seafarer who had steered an ancient ghost ship, he was experienced and shrewd. He forcibly suppressed his impulse and planned to go through the internal channels of the Church of Storm to find out about recent events. Top 5 Mr. Fool quotes, I'm aware. Sighs, raps table, smiles mysteriously, you can call me the Fool. And don't forget equal exchange. Is this a chapter with the best quote? I don't know. As for Audrey, she instantly understood what the Fool's sigh meant. She immediately understood that the entire situation regarding Lanevus. So it turns out that the bit of godhood that Lanevus possessed was the basic foundation for the descent of the true creator. The harsh situation in the Eastborough, the dock area, and the factory area was a hotbed that provided him rapid nurturing and strengthening. With a simple mission, Mr. Fool stopped his great conspiracy and saved the whole of Backland. Audrey looked towards the end of the long bronze table, her eyes sparkling brightly. Unconsciously, she brimmed with admiration. At this moment, the gloomy and reserved world let out a chuckle and said, Yes, every time I see and hear about a large number of child laborers dying in their teens, and how most workers rarely live past their 30 due to extreme exhaustion, terrible work environments, or how they barely survive the previous test, and as a result of their old age and loss of their job, they can only wander in their streets and die of hunger and cold, I have no doubt about the existence of an evil god. These gods are on the ground, in Eastborough, the dock area, the factory area. There's even a report that some factory workers are having a hard time surviving 5 years. Look at these commie fucks. God. Alright, you see? Listen, we just need to do capitalism better. Let's go. More capitalism. That's what we need, okay? In the Eastborough of Backland, there's a saying among people who live there, without exception, any person who has a grandfather must be from the countryside. The meaning of this sentence is that people living here won't have a 3rd generation as they can't have grandchildren. That is so fucked. Poverty and hunger make their children very thin. Work that's difficult to adapt causes them to quickly wither away in Backland, much less getting married and conceiving the next generation. This was the first time Audrey had heard Mr. World speak so much. She was suddenly plunged into deep shock and confusion. Why don't I know anything about this? The newspaper and magazines I read only mentions that the residents of the Eastborough are having a hard time. This is far worse than being laborious. Audrey's eyes lost their focus for a moment. She felt as if her understanding of the kingdom and the world had been completely overturned. Suddenly, she understood why Mr. Fool had uttered such a sigh, and why in this day and age, such as Backland and in such as an Eastborough, the dock area and the factory districts were the hotbeds of an evil god's descent. We can't go on like this, otherwise Backland will one day be destroyed because of this. Audrey felt a strong urge to go back and learn more, to remind her father. She wanted to use the powers of a spectator and telepathist to secretly guide the governmental policies to improve the lives of pitiful people in the Eastborough, the docks, and the factory district. Hey, holy shit, based Audrey, what the fuck? At the end of the long bronze table, Klein quietly observed Miss Justice's reaction. He had purposely lamented a while back and used his smurf, the world, to give a detailed explanation. He wanted this noble who had a semblance of purity to realize the seriousness and use her to push for a change. Before I become faceless, I must clearly remember that I cannot be personally involved in such matters. No noble harmed, everything is good, yes sir. Thank you, Mr. Fool, for saving Backland. Your sigh has made me understand the problem at its roots. Thank you, Mr. World. You made me understand a great deal of the situation I didn't know in the past. Saved Backland? Alger was no stranger to the condition of the East Borough, the factory district, and the dock area. He was more surprised by the description Miss Justice had just used. Just how huge was this matter? The son, on the other hand, listened quite attentively, although he couldn't understand all of it. He still listened attentively, hoping to learn about the regions where Mr. Hangman, Miss Justice, and the world were located. Klein smiled in response to Miss Justice's gratitude and didn't do anything further. He turned to look at the hanged man. Alger immediately understood what it meant and quickly conjured the last page of Roselle's diary. Come on, give us some cool info. Klein quickly received it out of thin air and took a glance at it. I discovered a problem. If an unconscious high-sequence beyonder objects are not sealed, they would unconsciously attract low-sequence beyonders from the same pathway, causing them to come into contact with each other. The higher the original sequence, the more likely this is to happen. If unconscious... Hold on. I think you guys can see this. If unconscious high-sequence beyonder objects are not sealed... Wait, when it says high-sequence beyonder objects, what does that mean? Like, is it talking about, like, stand users meeting other stand users? Yeah, no, I get that. Beyonder objects, what does that mean? Is it talking about, like, beyonder characteristics? Is it talking about, like, sealed artifacts? What is it talking about? Yes, I'll write it. I just want to understand it before I write it. Sorry. Yes, it means things related to the same sequence will be fated to come together. Is it weird to be watching 3 streams? What the fuck are you watching 3 streams at once? That means you're watching 0. Alex, thanks for popping by. I don't believe I've seen you here before. Artifacts, characteristics, and people. Ah, interesting. So basically, what it's saying is... I'll put this in the lower section, I guess. So basically, it's like as you get higher as you get to higher sequences, you develop kind of like a gravity. Or you develop a kind of gravitational pull that pulls in other weaker things of the same pathway, like a planet that's still forming and pulling in other objects. Okay, so you get to higher sequences, you attract lower sequence items. Okay, so you basically just... Okay, so you develop like a gravitational pull for other... Okay, same pathways attract each other and also even compatible pathways to a lesser extent? Oh, cool. Okay. Oh. Okay, that's good. That's awesome, Alex. Thanks for popping by. I appreciate it. Yes, however, this situation doesn't seem to be constant. It seems to be intermittent. Oh, for fuck's sake, sorry, I just X'd out of it. However, the diary entry immediately jolted Klein to attention because he had made similar guesses before. After he came to Backland, he quickly found himself intertwined with the secret order with the Beyonder of the Seer pathway. Thus, he found himself in an extremely passive and dangerous situation. But, as a result, he also gained sequence 7, 6, and 5 formulas as a result. At the same time, he suspected that his transmigration involved secrets that gave him the power to resurrect, and that he would occasionally attract people and objects related to the Seer pathway, such as the indigenous family notebook or members of a secret order. After reading this diary, Klein had another idea. He used the corner of his eye to scan the thick grey fog and the illusory dark star below him. He muttered to himself, "Could it be the one Could it be the one who created that attractive force wasn't me, but this grey fog? This could also be considered as a secret behind my transmigration." Without any further clues or information, Klein quickly gathered his thoughts and read the second diary. January 16. The taste of a demoness ain't bad. What the fuck? What did I just read? What the fuck did I just read? What is this sentence? Emperor, I have underestimated you. There's really nothing stopping you. Don't you care about the other person's previous gender? Don't you care about her experience during the pleasure phase? Emperor Roselle after sleeping with a with a demoness. Oh my god, that's so good. What the fuck? January 20th. I finished making the second card of blasphemy. Let me think. Where should I hide it? Yes, I plan to disguise it as a bookmark and insert it into a very valuable book. If the person who obtains it isn't someone fated, it would be hard to imagine that the most valuable thing in the book is actually that seemingly ordinary bookmark. Not bad. That's a pretty good idea. Also, if you're sequence 2, a certain sequence 1 will probably attract you. Yeah, that makes sense. Helping demoness digest their potions faster. How kind of Roselle. But then, okay. But then that also makes me think that whatever is causing these formulas, or like whatever's causing Beyonder potions or powers, wants you to get to higher and higher sequences. Like there's a kind of will, like to speak in Elden Ring terms, there's a greater will that's kind of slowly inching people to like a funnel to get to a higher sequence. Because what it's doing is it's having lower sequences seek out higher sequences in a like kind of a funnel-like manner, so that, hey, listen, either this higher sequence is going to kill this lower sequence, and then he'll get more power because he'll obtain the characteristic that he can now eat, like kind of like what Dunn was doing, or this lower sequence is going to kill this higher sequence, and now he can begin progressing. So it's to stop people from like getting to, let's say, a sequence 2 or whatever, and then saying like, I don't want to go any higher or whatever, right? It's kind of like a funnel that's guiding you to get stronger and reach sequence 0. For what purpose? I don't fucking know, but that's what it seems like to me. Emperor, why can't you explain more clearly? Which book did this go into? Before I read this, I was so happy, thinking I can follow clues and obtain a card of blasphemy containing the profound secrets of deity. Klein was disappointed and let his gaze linger on the paragraph, in the hopes there'd be more specific information in future entries of the Emperor's diary. He comforted himself with this sentence: "You can start your discussion freely now." At that moment, the son Derek raised his hand, having learned it from his justice, and said, "Mr. World, the Beyonder weapon you gave me far exceeded my expectations. I've already accumulated enough contribution points to trade for the ingredients to advance to sequence 8. I use the remaining to hire helpers to obtain a chance to get the true root and juice of the Mist Treant. I'll be able to complete the deal soon." He explained in great detail, worried that his reputation of keeping his word would be suspected and destroyed. Of course, He was telling the truth. Although the axe did match some of his expectations for a Beyonder weapon, the power shocked him. The axe that can create a powerful lightning bolt in just 2 or 3 strikes. With a temporary boost from my bard powers, I can easily fight in close quarters with a sequence 7 monster now. If I were to encounter a monster that's afraid of lightning, I could easily finish them. I'm now a light suppliant with a certain level of magical skills. My strength has now raised qualitatively. My strength has been raised qualitatively? That doesn't even make any sense. Shouldn't it be quantitatively? Because qualitatively means like in words. That doesn't even make any sense. And I can fight against even more powerful monsters. Derek Berg felt that he had fallen in love with that Beyonder weapon. Well, that's good. The world, give me all you have. Zawardo! In the City of Silver, its potency was one of the reasons to like it. The surrounding darkness and monsters in the depths of darkness forced them to obey this rule for generations. Alright, the gloomy world nodded under Clan's control. He then looked again and said, Lady, sir, do you have any clues regarding the dark pattern Black Panther spinal fluid or the spring of Elves marrow crystals? Audrey shook her head without hesitation. Alger then suddenly said, There will be a grand event held on the Sonia Sea soon. Ships from the 4 pirate kings and 6 pirate admirals will be participating. I shall call them the 7 pirate admirals. Another person has joined the ranks. There will definitely be transactions of Beyonder ingredients at such an event. It's very likely that the not very rare dark patterned panther spinal fluid or the spring of marrow elves will appear. I have the opportunity to participate, but what can you offer in exchange? I'm sure you don't have the potion formula for the Wind Blessed, and that'll be very difficult for you to find in the future too. High probability of appearing. Klein controlled the world and made him laugh deeply. Yes, I really don't have the potion for the Wind Blessed, nor do I have the means of obtaining it anytime soon. But I have an incomplete formula for a Sequence 4 potion. Even though it's incomplete, I think you should know very well its value. It can be exchanged for at least 10,000 pounds, and most of the time, you can't even buy it with money worth several times that. This is a crucial step that will lead to a human's qualitative change. So, are you interested? The spinal fluid of a dark pattern Black Panther is worth between 500 and 700 pounds, and the spring of Elves marrow crystal is worth 3 or 4. I believe you still need to prepare an additional 9,000 pounds or an item of equal value. Holy shit. I love how Alger went into this trade going, I'm suspicious of new people. What do you have to trade for my exorbitant access? And Klein's like, bro, you understand? The thing you're trying to sell me is like the least important thing. Like you're poor. Let's be clear. Let's be clear, okay? You ain't the one doing any favors here, bitch. Klein had long since speculated that the sequence of the Sun pathway, unshadowed, could be swapped with the same pathway of the Sailor and Reader pathway. And this conjecture had been inadvertently confirmed by Mr. Ray's request and in the information provided in Roselle's diary. It was even suspected to extend to the secret suppliant and spectator sequence pathways. We mods are definitely not in Discord doing sus stuff. Well, I trust you guys. I need to sleep. Alright, thanks for popping by, Nagito. I appreciate it. Thanks so much, buddy. Hope to see you for tomorrow's stream. Or, well, today's stream. Fuck, it's alright. It's past midnight. Fuck. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I already have this in my notes. Hold on. Sun. Okay, even if you don't like Reader in Sequence 5, which is really not that likely, you can still switch pathways. Yeah, I guess. It's after 10 hours, right? Yes. 10 hours, Nagito. Okay. Sun, Sailor, and Reader can be swapped at higher sequences. I will probably get off too so I can wake up early. Alright, sounds good, Unhinged. I appreciate you. Thanks for popping by, buddy. Hope you have a great rest of your night. Therefore, he believed the incomplete formula for the Unshadowed was an irresistible temptation for the hanged man who was of the sailor pathway. It doesn't matter if you don't have anything worth £9,000. You can pay it in installments, with the fool bearing witness. Currently, he was lacking the spinal fluid of a dark patterned Black Panther, so he didn't mind letting the hanged man remain on credit. In any case, he didn't need to worry about the possibility of him running away. Well, there are certain risks. I would be at a huge disadvantage if he suddenly died with such an expensive deal in hand. Then I won't be here when my math class starts. Okay, no worries, Nagito. That's all good, man. You have a good night, bud. Well, there are also, yes, in the incomplete formula of a sequence 4 potion that leads to a path of a demigod. This is something you can't even buy with money. Audrey's eyes lit up. She couldn't help but hide her curiosity as she asked the hanged man, Mr. World, can I ask what sequence pathway the formula pertains to? If it's not convenient, pretend I never asked. If he actually has a sequence 4 formula, even if it's incomplete, that's very shocking. No wonder Mr. Fool let him into the Tarot Club. He isn't a simple beyonder. Well, Gio and 4's test has come to an end. Mr. Fool didn't mention if he's letting them join. Well, he must have other considerations. Maybe he needs more time. I shouldn't take the initiative to ask since it will appear impolite. Miss Justice's question was just what Klein wanted. He replied, I was planning to say it anyway. It's the potion formula to sequence 4 of the sun. Unshadowed. The sun pathway? Derek instantly looked at Mr. World, who sat at the other end of the long bronze table. His eyes filled with eagerness and longing. However, he maintained his silence because he knew that he was still far from the threshold of a demigod. He had to spend his limited resources to strengthen himself first. Only caring about the near future was the way the City of Silver operated. This was because, to its residents, there may not be a future at any moment. Unshadowed. Audrey nodded gracefully, then happily added, Thank you for your answer. She felt like she had learned something important again. Unshadowed. I'm sorry. I have no need for it. No need for it? This was completely different from the script he had imagined. In his shock, he indirectly caused the world to pause and say, You can first owe a portion with Mr. Fool as witness. I believe he will definitely make up the rest. No, I really have no need for it. Alger shook his head. No need for it? He's confident that he would gain the favor of the church and be bestowed with the corresponding potion directly? Or does he have the sequence 4 potion of the sailor pathway? The name was Cataclysmic Interrer. Klein quickly made thought of 2 possibilities. Cataclysmic Interrer. Yeah, okay. Pushy salesman, yeah. What should I do? Don't tell me that I should trade the witch or demoness of pleasure with him. Klein silently mocked himself, deliberately making the world silent before saying, Other potion formulas or some secrets I know? Secrets such as the peak level of sequences? Alger changed his seating posture and said, I personally know of some secrets of peak level sequences. How will you guarantee there's no overlap? How will you guarantee the secrets you tell me are of equal value? We'll each give the peak level sequences to secrets to Mr. Fool and let him decide if there's any overlap and determine values. Mr. Fool, is that all right? Klein manipulated. Sure, he said with a super... What is that word? Dude, what is this? This is actual... would you be able to call this insider trading? This feels so fucked. He is manipulating him all the way to the circus. Super... What is this word?
Supercilious.
Supercilious. Sure. Alder slowly nodded. I have no problem with that. Let's begin. I really want to know the secrets of the peak level sequences, but I haven't had any money to buy it. Audrey looked enviously at the world and the hanged man. Having never worried about money since she was young, she finally experienced the taste of poverty. Very soon, Klein received the contents written by the two members. Without a doubt, he first looked at the hanged man, the goatskin parchment from the hanged man, and discovered the content was simple. There was only one sentence. The peak level sequence conceals the path to divinity. Great, otherwise there'd be no need to use the other information. It doesn't overlap. To most Beyonders, the secret Mr. World is providing is of no value, but in the eyes of others, it's extraordinarily important and cannot be measured with money. After hearing this, Alger fell into a dilemma. To him, getting two Beyonder ingredients at the same time wasn't a small burden. He had to sell many valuable items to trade for them. To pay for such a price for a secret that might not be useful to him. Alger considered for nearly 20 seconds before saying, "Mr. Fool, can you provide more hints? I can't make a decision yet." "Can't make a decision? Are you stupid?" The corner of Klein's mouth moved slightly. He knew that the words he had said to maintain his image had the opposite effect and made him indecisive. The content he described in a detailed supplement. The content he describes as a detailed supplement to the secrets you know. Detailed supplement? A detailed supplement to the path of divinity? Alger didn't hesitate any longer. He then turned his head and said, "Deal. I'll help you in exchange for the spinal fluid of the dark patterned panther and the spring of elves marrow crystals within the week." Sorry, can someone confirm? So the dark patterned Black Panther stuff is definitely for the sequence 7 magician. Is the spring of elves for sequence 7 as well, or is that for like a sequence 6 or 5 potion? Is he like preparing beforehand, or is this, or like are both of these needed for him to get to magician? Of course, the premise is that they'll appear at the pirate meet. Although the probability is very high, we still have to believe that anything can happen. If that happens, I might have to postpone it to next week, the following week, or even the month. But don't worry, I will keep my promise. Don't worry. No problem. With Mr. Fool as witness, there's no need for me to worry. After they confirmed their transaction, Klein conjured a goatskin in front of the hanged man. He lowered his head eagerly, reading the word ferociously. There is a sequence 0 above sequence 1, and the sequence 0 is the sequence of a true god. They can similarly be reached through the corresponding potions and rituals. Sequence 0? The sequence of a true god? Alger was astonished and shocked, but he also felt relieved. I understand. I understand what it means. He inhaled silently and leaned back into his chair as if nothing had happened. That secret must be astonishing. Even Mr. Hanged Man lost his composure. Audrey looked at the longing expression and said to the sun, "Mr. Sun, I remember you mentioning that the City of Silver has the Dragon Pathway 987 formulas." "Yes. Sequence 7 formula is a psyche analyst. If I wish to get it, what is the price I need to pay?" "It's not a part of Klein's potion. Thank you." "The Sequence 7 formula of the Sun Pathway," Derek replied without hesitation. "I'll do my best to obtain it." Alder just got scammed with some secrets he'll never ever need. Maybe, but even still, even if he never needs it himself, which, I mean, there's a chance. There's a chance he can become the Sequence 0 too. Why not? Spread the wealth around and whatnot. But even if he doesn't need it himself, the amount of value that can give in an exchange in the future is like immense. It's so crazy. So, Zhu and Force mentioned that there's a Beyonder of the Sun Pathway Mysteries gathering. He's at least a Sequence 7 and adept at purification and exorcism. Once all the events settle down, I could attempt to try to get it from him. In addition, I should join more gatherings of the abandoned education building in that hospital. I'll try to come into contact with members of the psychology alchemists. One of the two paths will definitely lead to something. The thoughts flashed through Audrey's mind, but she suddenly realized that she was unable to obtain it even if she had discovered clues to the formula. This was because she was experiencing a financial crisis for the next few months and barely holding on. The price of a Sequence 7 is about £800, so if I scrimp, I should be able to produce that. It's already October, it's almost New Year's. I'll be an adult by then and have the freedom to handle a lot more money. Or I should use the knowledge I was taught by Mr. Fool to trade. I wonder what attitude he has towards this kind of behavior. She decided to wait until there was hope for the formula before she asked Mr. Fool. Financial crisis, yeah. It's like, oh god. I love how her financial crisis is like the slightest bit of thought she has to give to money. Like, instead of just being able to do whatever she wants, she's like, I can do that. I just, like, next week, I can only buy 17 dresses. Like, okay, I can't do any more than that. It's like, she's like, fuck, I'm like barely holding on. Justin, how's it going, man? The transaction segment came to an end. Klein originally wanted to use the knowledge he knew to exchange for a mystical item without many negative effects, but after sensing how tight the hanged man was, he knew that the other party would pay a large price for those two beyonder ingredients. It was unlikely that he had any extra assets, so he only gave it up. As soon as the free exchange segment ended, Alger took the initiative to mention the admiral's ship and crew was subdued, giving rise to a new pirate admiral. You have like 4 chapters left? Yes. Oh my god, I still have another 4 chapters. Fuck, I'm gonna be done at like 2 o'clock. Oh, I'm so cooked, dude. I have to be up at 6, and I'm gonna be done at like 2:30. Fuck. Oh, alright. Well, there's nothing quite like a early morning run when your adrenaline is sky high because you're running on basically no sleep. God. Audrey was interested in the pirate admiral and asked, what's his name? What's his title? There haven't been any news. She's a lady and was a famous pirate in the past. You should have heard of Ailment Maiden Tracy, right? No, I don't know much about such things. Me too, Klein sitting at the end of the table added inwardly. Alger fell silent for a few seconds without wasting time explaining. In short, she subdued the crew of the rear admiral's crew last month. She subdued the crew of the rear admiral last month. She proved herself with actual actions that she had the strength of a pirate admiral. She changed the name of the rear admiral ship to Black Death and calls herself Vice Admiral Ailment. I think you can stop after this Tarot Club meeting. Is that okay if we do like the end of 292 instead? Or, you know what, whenever this ends. If it ends like at this chapter or the next, we'll end it there then, if that's okay with you guys. I can push through if we have to. I'll be okay. I mean, fuck it. I don't sleep that much anyway. I sleep like 5 or 6 hours if I'm lucky, so if it's 4, then it's 4. It's kind of whatever. In the past, she acted independently and was someone who specialized in curses, black flames, and ice. Her enemies would always suffer from sudden ailments of various kinds. At present, no one knows which pathway she belongs to, but we're certain that she's a Sequence 5. Audrey listened with relish. She blinked her eyes and said, Mr. Hankman, can you introduce me to the 4 pirate kings and the 6 admirals in details? I've only heard their names and titles and don't know which beyonder powers they have. He nodded and said, that won't be an issue. The strongest pirate king is the king of the 5 seas, Nast. So she deals mainly in curses. Oh no, don't get me wrong. Sleeping less won't affect my health in any kind of way. I like to think I'm pretty healthy. And again, I've never slept much, so it's not like a new thing where like holy shit, like, you know, I'm losing a lot of sleep for this or whatever. I've just never slept a lot. Okay. All right, let me look through my things really quick. Okay, not the reader, not the planter, not the prisoner. Criminal, maybe? But wait. Hold on. Any guesses for her pathway? Hold on. Wait. I make up for my lack of sleep by just snoozing away on weekdays. Wait, hold on. curses black ice and black flames and ice. Didn't we see Sharon using black flames and ice? Am I misremembering this? So, she's a girl. Well, she's a girl. What a fucking God. Oh, that's tautologically true. That's stupid. Flip a coin? Sure. Okay. Sure. Demoness is her pathway. Her pathway is Demoness. Called. Alright, dope. Audrey, listen, yes. The strongest pirate king is the king of the seas, Nast. He claims to be a descendant of the 4th epoch Solomon Empire. Holy shit. Okay, more lore, more fucking lore. God damn it. Nast, strongest king of the 5 seas, claims to be a descendant of the Solomon Empire. He not only is he a high sequence beyonder, holy shit, this guy's a demigod, but he possesses the terrifying ghost ship Black Emperor, a relic of the Empire. He's adept at using order, so he's of the lawyer pathway. Okay. High sequence beyonder of the lawyer pathway. Okay, dope. And has the ghost ship Black Emperor. I doubt the ship name is important, but fuck it. If we're adding all this shit, we'll just add it. Holy fuck. He's also rumors he is over 100 years old. Well, so I guess just being a high sequence beyonder allows you to live for so much longer, right? Because Miss Bodyguard, who was a sequence 5, and that might be a result of her pathway too, so don't take this with a grain of salt, but like Miss Bodyguard said, like, oh, I don't have to eat for weeks. Like and she's a mid sequence beyond, like she's right on the cusp of a high sequence, sure, sequence 5, but I don't have to eat for weeks. So just being a high sequence beyonder is just gonna make you damn near fucking immortal. What is this? He's also the oldest pirate known in the world. Rumor has it he's over 100 years old, and he's been active in the 5 scenes since the Roselle era. No one knows exactly how old he is. Demigod for a reason? True. Of course, compared to other pirate kings, there's a lot of information about him. As the owner of the Dawn, all we know is that she's a beautiful woman. She was once a warlock and now a demigod, and calls herself Queen Mystic. Wait, hold on. This is another bodyguard? Or sorry, this is another king. This is another king of the seas? Sorry, bodyguard. Fuck. Another king of the 5 seas? Another king. Seas, owner of Dawn. Once a warlock. Now a demigod, calls herself Queen Mystic. Warlock. What sequence was Warlock? I know I've seen that before. Mystery Prior. Holy shit, we have a high sequence beyond of the Mystery Prior pathway? Fuck. Of the Mystery Prior pathway. Dope. Oh shit. After introducing the 4 kings, Alger changed his topic to the 6 remaining admirals. The owner of the Black Tulip, Ludwell, is a subordinate of the king of the 5 seas. Later, he became an independent and calls himself Admiral Hell. Rumor has it he's established certain connections with Numinous Episcopate. He's a powerful medium and can control all sorts of creatures in the spirit world. He's terrifying and odd. Rumor has it he possesses a ring left from the ancient era's death. Numinous Episcopate. That's the secret organization that has access to the seer pathway, if I'm remembering this right. I'm just gonna copy paste all of this bullshit. Yes, I'm just gonna copy all of this, and then I will deal with it later. Oh wait, so what does the Numinous Episcopate have? Oh, they have the death pathway. Sorry. That's, yes, apologies. That's the one who wants to originate from the southern continent. They wanted a legend has it formed by a descendant of death. I see. Sorry. That's what I get for not consulting my notes and just talking out of ass. Admirals of Stars, Cattleya was once a follower of Queen Mystic, but they've long become estranged. The reason for that, according to rumors, that she joined a particular secret organization angering Queen Mystic. From the information I know, that was the Moses Ascetic Order. Moses Ascetic Order, Mystery Prior Pathway, Hidden Sage. Klein suddenly thought of old Neil's loss of control and the evil god who would whisper temptations into low sequence beyonders of the same sequence. This was the first time he learned news regarding the Moses Ascetic Order through reality instead of the books. And then Alger introduced Admiral of Blood Senor, who was suspected to be a non-human. Vice Admiral Deep Sea Howl Constantine, who possessed a bloodline that was partially from Sea Monster. Vice Admiral Iceberg Edwina Edwards, and Vice Admiral Dusk Bolotov Ivan. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm beginning to yearn for the sea, Audrey said. I don't know when I'll be able to truly travel. No, Miss Justice. It's absolutely not as nice as you imagine. From my point of view, it's an amalgamation of blood, chaos, murder, desire, and horror. Alger calmly doused her enthusiasm. Audrey nodded. There's been 11 murders in Backland recently, but one of them has been proven to be a copycat crime. The serial killings are against women who were street girls and are now working normal professions. The murderer cuts open their stomach and removes all their internal organs. This sounds like something to do with devil worship. Was it done by someone of the Blood Sanctify sect? Alger said. I don't know. The murderer hasn't been found yet. Audrey yearned to become a detective, bringing Susie along to capture that cursed murderer. At that moment, Derek blurted out, I know about such rituals. Sorry, give me 2 seconds, guys. I'm just going to run to the restroom, then we'll finish these last chapter or 2 chapters or whatever. I'll be right back. My bladder was exploding. Whew. All right, where are we at? No, not that one, the new one. All right, what did I miss? Seriously, if I was Death and I died, I would want to be revived. I mean, the whole thing with Death is not coming back. Death itself should be an example, not go and revive. I think if I I've said this before, but how are you the personification of death and you die? Thank you. This is what I'm imagining. This is like the equivalent of imagine you're a god named Knowledge. Now I want to be clear. I'm not saying you are the god of knowledge, okay? I'm saying you are a god named Knowledge. Your name is Knowledge, and someone comes along and like schools you in facts or something, just what's the point of you existing at that point? I don't know. Same thing. Like if you are death, you're not the god of death, because then that means like you have a domain over thing, and like maybe someone can do some like extra bullshit and eke you out. No, your name is death, and you fucking die. God, that's embarrassing. You loser. I agree, Chris. Yes, good man. I know about such rituals. He knows. Oh, that's right. Before the Cataclysm, especially during the Second Epoch, devils were active in the real world where they lived on the ground. They were the objects of hatred for both giants and dragons. It's normal for the City of Silver to have their records. Their history hasn't been tampered with, nor has there been any blanks over the generations. You know about this? Audrey said. Derek nodded. It's mentioned in our devil studies. It's rather ancient. The devils used it as a ritual to supplement their advancement, typically when advancing from 6 to 5. It's not a ceremony to please the devil, but a ceremony for the devil to assist them in advancing? That's right. The Abyss pathway, sequence 6, is called Devil. That is also the origin of that race's name. Hold on. I don't think that's known. That would be the criminal pathway, right? Where am I? Sequence 9, criminal. 8, known by its ancient name, cold-blooded. Or serial killer. We don't know. 7, unknown. 6, devil. The Abyss pathway. Before the Cataclysm, the devil pathway was called the Abyss pathway. Devil path. No. Devil pathway / Abyss pathway. I still think this is probably my number 1. I mean, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't enjoy the killing people and stuff, but hey man, if I get my own devil trigger form, we can work something out, okay? Sequence 0 could be the Abyss. Again, Klein discovered the values of the sun. A lot of knowledge and mysteries were lost across the river of history, but the City of Silver still possessed them. Is that so? Mr. Sun, are you aware of the actual details of the ritual? Derek nodded and said the minimum requirement is 13 and the highest is 49. The more complete the ritual, the higher the chance of advancement. You should always memorize the names of other pathways. You should start memorizing the name of other pathways. Oh, we don't usually call them by sequence 0. Oh, we usually call them by sequence 0. I see. Oh, I see. But the only sequence zeros I know yet are... So I'm assuming this is right. So let's say that's right. Oh, no, not that. Fuck, God. Sorry, I have so many tabs open. My shit just explodes sometimes. Devil pathway. Mainly, no. But the only ones I know now are Abyss pathway and the Sun pathway. I don't know anything else. That's bullshit. I finally learned now 22 and now you flip the script on me and say, oh, we don't actually call them the sequence 9s? Oh my god. What the fuck? Between two murders, there must be a minimum number of 3 days. Otherwise, it'd be easy to lose control. But the interval must also not exceed 9 days. That will cause the ritual to be reset. You also know the Evernight pathway? Do I know the Evernight pathway? Huh? I don't feel like I do. It's not in my notes. Huh? Okay. That will cause the ritual to reset. Every time a murder occurs and after every partial ritual, the devil will eat the victim's organs. From this point on, he'll be in a violent and bloodthirsty state. Just say the sequence 9 names? Okay, sounds good, man. Wishing to harm others until that desire is satisfied again. That's really scary, Audrey sighed. Klein sat in a thick fog, quietly listening and remembering. After discussing the case of the serial killer, Audrey looked at Alger and organized her words. Mr. Hankman, there's something that I've been wondering. I've attended several Beyonder gatherings and find that very few people sell potion formulas. Even if there is one, it would be very difficult for the transaction to close. Why is this? Just use the sequence 9s until you learn the sequence 0s? Yeah, exactly. Because right now I know 1. I know 1. I know Sun. And that was given to us by Roselle, like yesterday, I think? Maybe 2 days ago. I don't know. Alger chuckled and said, that's because a potion formula is easy to fake. The Beyonder gatherings are relatively hidden and not too binding. Therefore, no one dares to risk their life. Are you going to prepare 2 sets of Beyonder ingredients and conduct an experiment with animals first? That price is too high. Audrey suddenly felt a little guilty. Moreover, that's not the only extra cost. Animals can lose control more easily than humans after taking potions. We have to hire a few Beyonders to protect you from dying during your experiment. So for most Beyonders, even if a formula appears, they wouldn't dare buy it. Audrey felt even guiltier. Alger didn't notice her reaction and continued. Because of this, unless the host or a member of the gathering has the ability to appraise the authenticity of a potion formula and has already won the trust of most members, it's difficult for a formula trait to close. Well, the old Mr. Eye of Wisdom can. Mr. A is a shepherd, so he should be able to. Klein leaned back and muttered. A thought suddenly flashed past Audrey's mind. Can't it be done by making an oath? Honorable lady, this is an underground gathering. Do you think it's suitable to make an oath in the name of one of the 7 orthodox gods? This isn't something that can be resolved with an oath. A corresponding ritual is needed. As for other evil gods or devils or mysterious hidden existences like the hidden sage and true creator, unless you're their believer, who would dare to swear an oath in their name? Wouldn't they be wishing death upon themselves? In addition, without them knowing the acting method, potions easily lead to a loss of control, easily turning people into monsters. Furthermore, the corresponding ingredients are difficult to obtain and rather expensive. Therefore, as long as the 7 churches don't allow such trade to be officially recognized, there's no need for them to deliberately there's no need for them to deliberately control the spread of potion formulas on a wide scale, much less talk about advancement. So that's how it is, Audrey muttered. No wonder. Klein suddenly came to an realization. 7 orthodox gods? Derek really wanted to ask what 7 they were, but held himself back. I love how Derek is like so far behind in some areas, but on the other hand, he has so much knowledge that they don't, where it feels like eventually they come up to the same level, but like in widely different areas. Like combined together, if they were all able to just say, hey, information we'll just give to each other for free instead of hassling each other like this. Holy shit, like that now they would be in. I don't know why they don't do this. Like they should just be like, hey, knowledge we'll give each other. Like potion formulas, anything, information about like understandings and stuff. We'll give that for free. If we need ingredients or money and stuff, then we'll do some kind of trade for it because it's a physical item, no problem. But like everyone would level up so much faster that way. He thought for a moment and said, the City of Silver has recently organized an expedition to explore deep into the darkness and found semi-destroyed temples. The statue that's worshipped inside was a naked man nailed upside down on a cross. There were also a lot of bloodstains on the surface. Do you know which god that is? That is the true creator. The Forsaken Land of Gods actually has a temple of the true creator? Judging from what the sun said, the true creator shouldn't exist before the cataclysm, otherwise it would be impossible for the City of Silver not to recognize it. Klein used his clown ability to control his expression and prevent the shock on his face from showing. I mean, yeah, they give information about the world, that's true. But like, I feel like potion formulas, especially, like if they could give that to each other and just not charge each other for it, now they can go give that out in the real world, get money, get the stuff they need, all in their own circles, and all level up together, and they get more and more rare information and be able to use that in their circles. Like the whole a rising tide lifts all boats sort of thing. Like everyone should. Again, it's hard to do that because on its face it feels really fucked. Because if, let's say, I have a ton of information and like other people don't, I feel so shitty giving that out because I'm like, oh, like I don't know if they're gonna reciprocate in the future. But if there was some kind of ability to know, like, hey, no, like they'll reciprocate when they have knowledge in the future, which like the fool can facilitate in this scenario, they would be so intelligent if they were ever to do that. They're naturally untrustworthy. Yeah, but the fact that they're in the presence of the fool, which they think is a god, they would be trustworthy because they'd be like, oh, I'm not trying to hide shit. Lest he fucking smite me or some shit. The Justice, the Hangman, and the World all exchanged looks, shook their head, and said, we don't know. Just as they finished, they heard Mr. Fool say, that's the fallen creator. Oh my god, my voice is fucked. But I will say, I've gotten so much better, in terms of like being able to read. Like, what are we averaging now? 15, 16 chapters a day? This is crazy. I don't know who remembers this, but like way back in the day, I could do like 5 barely, and I was like, I'm dying. By the end of the 5th chapter, my voice started to fucking give out. It's crazy how much better I've gotten in the past like month. Okay, I think this should be the last one, I think. Yes. But how can they confirm that the fool is truly neutral to them? He's just a secret existence? What do you mean by neutral to them? That's interesting. There's a whole life. That's true, but they're disregarding that right now, right? By the very fact that they're in cahoots with him and not going and running to whichever church they follow and telling the Nighthawks or the Punishers or the Hive Mind or whatever, they're kind of already trusting that existence. So at that point, I think it'd just be like, hey, the whole like in for a penny, in for a pound thing. Like, fuck it. If I'm gonna do this, then let's do this right and let's become a fucking high level beyonder as quickly as possible. The fallen creator, Derek frowned. The residents of the City of Silver always believed the omnipotent and omniscient God, the Lord that created everything. Therefore, when he heard a similar name with the word fallen tacked to it, he couldn't help but instinctively reject and feel uncomfortable. The fallen they're scared, especially Alger is scared to tell the church. Well, of course they're scared, but logically, well, I guess, yeah, you kind of feel fucked both ways, don't you? You don't want to go because then they're going to be like, oh, why did you get picked, loser? And then maybe stake you or some shit. Fair point. I don't know. I still feel like, if possible, it'd be so much better if everyone could just cooperate with information. But, yeah, I get your point, though, Ramiro, I do. The fallen creator, that's the way Mr. Fool addresses the true creator, so that's the image of this evil god. But why would a statue and temple appear within the City of Silver's exploration confines? The place that's suspected to be the Forsaken Land of the Gods. Or perhaps before it was abandoned by the gods, there was already faith in the true creator. Could the holy residence that the Aurora Order always talks about be the Forsaken Land of Gods? Many thoughts came to Alger, but he couldn't make an accurate judgment based on the history before the Cataclysm had long evolved into myths and legends. Hold on, it's getting real windy. My door is shaking like a bitch. Hold on. Oh, good lord. In Lord of the Mysteries, caution is always safer. In life, caution is always safer, but it's not always the most effective route. Or efficient, rather. No, not effective. Efficient. Many thoughts came to Alger, but he couldn't make an accurate judgment because the history before the Cataclysm had long evolved into myths and legends. It couldn't simply be described as information shrouded in fog. Yeah, Justin, it's like in business, it's like a really simple theory. It's like if possible, again, this is really rare even in business because in order to do this, you need to have two firms that have like hyper aligned goals. Because if I and another firm have like even slightly conflicting goals, we're gonna both try to scam each other, and it'll both devolve into nothing. Because I'll give you a piece of information that I think is pretty useless, and you'll reciprocate with a piece of information you think is pretty useless, and there's just no point to it. But if we both had absolute faith in that, hey, I think he's trying to help me, and you think like, hey, I think he's trying to help me, the level of like information exchange and like speed that we could have between us would far exceed any other competing firms, or in this case, like any other competing beyonders. Because I get a piece of information, well, cool, my friend now immediately has that piece of information, so even if it's of no use to me, maybe you can use it, even not directly, but like use it to exchange for something. So it'd be handy. But again, I do get Ramirez's point. I do. I'm not being like I'm not trying to be dense or anything. I do. He thought for 2 seconds and said deliberately, "We have another name for the fallen creator. It's the true creator. The faction that believes in him is in control of the Beyonder pathway, such as the Secret Suppliant, Listener, and Shadow Ascetic. The subsequent sequence includes the Shepherd you mentioned before. Shepherd?" The silent Derek sat up straight, his eyes filled with horror. He wasn't unfamiliar with the Beyonder pathways for which the Hanged Man had referred to, other than some of the sequences being described with similar words in the City of Silver. For example, the Whispered and Listener. It's so strange It's so strange that evil statues represent the secret suppliant pathway. Elder Lovia is already a shepherd. She's been acting more and more strangely. Derek suddenly started to worry about the 6-member council's newly advanced elder and the safety of the City of Silver. Well, exactly, Ramiro, but the problem is, you know what, we'll talk about this after I finish the chapter, because I feel like I'm getting so much into like econ stuff, it's going to bore the shit out of a lot of people, so I'll leave it until the end of the chapter for anyone who's interested. In the past, when they explored surrounding areas, the City of Silver had found a few cities that were completely destroyed. In those places, only a few pieces of rubble that had been carved with words that proved the existence of such a civilization. They were all variations of Dragonese, Jotun, Elvish, and they repeated the same one kind of thing: evil god. The residents of the City of Silver who was involved in expedition were guessing that those cities were destroyed by evil gods. So, after finding out the Elder Lovia's pathway was controlled by an evil god, how could Derek not be shocked, worried, and terrified? I mean, in a world where your life could be threatened at any moment, caution is justified? True. He returned to his taciturn state, disappointing Audrey, who had been waiting to hear more stories about the City of Silver. After many gatherings, after her purchase of the dragon race's intelligence, her interest towards the City of Silver had grown more. His reaction is a little different than expected, Aldra observed calmly, but failed to get anything from it. For a moment, he couldn't find a point of entry into the conversation. If he asked directly, he suspected the son would request payment, which wasn't an easy task for him since he was burdened with the debt of 2 Beyonder ingredients. It was at this moment that they simultaneously heard the sound of the table gently being tapped. "Let's end today's gathering here. Your will is our will," everyone said. Klein waved his hand and severed the connection. Everyone disappeared. Then he made a smurf, the world, disappear. He picked up the small badge which he had obtained from Lanevus and studied it. "You can join us if you have this item." Klein read the sentence on the back, but realized that it didn't undergo any changes. He thought for a moment and carefully injected his spirituality into it. A faint layer of light bloomed and quickly condensed into a light beam shooting out of the grey fog. However, it was repelled by the endless grey fog. Not to say caution isn't justified, just to say more so in reality, yeah. The beam of light suddenly dispersed, transforming into a palm-sized piece of illusory goat skin. On it was written in ancient Fasak: January 4th, 1350, 8 p.m. in Barber Valley. A simple communication device in the field of mysticism, it sends out messages, requests synchronization, and gets the latest rendezvous time and venue. 1350, that's next year. Next year? Barber Valley lies in the area before the Tussock River enters Backland. The time is precious, but the venue is vague. It's a valley that's almost 100 kilometers long. Perhaps this badge could be used as a location tool when one gets there. Klein turned the badge over it with interest, trying to figure out the corresponding symbols, incantations, and characteristics. Unfortunately, since he was no longer part of the Nighthawks, his knowledge in mysticism was not at the same level as before. He had no opportunities of improving it further. Therefore, after studying it for a few minutes, he hopelessly gave up. As for the phrase, "If you can join us if you have this item," Klein's plan was to not consider it for the time being. If I can become a faceless by the end of this year, then I can head there in disguise. Otherwise, forget it. The true root and juice of Miscreant is likely in the bag with the sun. If my luck isn't too bad, I should be able to get the spinal fluid of the Dark Pattern Black Panther this week. Sequence 7, a mid-sequence. I can already see it and touch it. But how should a magician act? As he thought about it, Klein began to consider a specific issue. Due to his experience before and after his death and resurrection, he instantly comprehended the essence of a clown. Therefore, in this month or so, he only needed to constantly act in his daily life to gradually digest it. He didn't need to make further summaries and adjust it to according to feedback. After killing Lanevus and attaining his revenge, the clown potion was completely digested. Amidst his laughing, digested the moment he was laughing amid tears. This wasn't the same as the process when he first digested the seer potion. It was considered a special case, and now he had to return to a situation with the magician's acting. The true essence of magician is to pass off the illusory with the genuine. According to what Zaratul said, although the main focus of this pathway isn't fate, a portion of it still belongs to it. So there must be something corresponding. For example, it must be that fate can be changed to a certain extent, but in the end, it all turns out to be an illusion. It's just a magic trick that fools you. Klein rubbed his temples, then wrapped his spirituality and descended into the grey fog. St. George Borough in a 2-bedroom apartment. Fortunately, I have prepared another place like this, otherwise I wouldn't even know where to hide. Forrest stared into the mirror and removed her dropping hair. "That's right," Gio replied. Oh my god. I just read in the newspaper that Lanevus is dead, but this matter involves godhood, so it won't end soon. We have to hide for a while. No. It's you who's gonna hide, not me. I'm an upright clinical doctor, the author of a bestseller. Gio couldn't provide a rebuttal and slowly said, "Thankfully, I was sufficiently clever and possess rich experience. When I got someone to make the report, I didn't directly say it involved the godhood of the true creator. I only described it as seemingly very dangerous and that the target had experienced huge changes, like he was praying to evil gods. If not, I wouldn't even dare to stay in Backland. To be embroiled in a high-level battle is dangerous and troublesome. I don't want to take on any more of Audrey's missions." "Really?" Forrest said. "Actually, there was no need for us to mention the godhood, since Audrey was able to discover this on her own, right? The Church of the Goddess would definitely be capable. They most likely killed a giant, right?" I can't be sure," Forrest replied. Gio froze, then let out a long, slow sigh. "This mission was basically completed by you, so I won't be sharing the payment with you. There's a total of £200, so with the £70 you saved up, if you deduct the expenses, you should be close to obtaining the first Beyonder ingredient of the Sheriff Potion, but I won't be able to save the £100 from the police so quickly." Gio said, this wasn't to say that the police weren't willing to give the bounty, but she couldn't take it directly. She had to go through a friend who had helped her deliver the clues. That was the official bounty recipient. Since she believed this matter would cause a huge ruckus, she didn't have the guts to find her friend anytime soon. As for whether that friend would usurp the bounty, she was quite confident. The other party had helped too many shady bounty hunters before. It was fine to take a commission, but if he dared to directly usurp all the bounty, he would have already died in some unknown dark alley. but it ultimately belongs to you. Force paused. When you've collected enough money, you can contact the mask guy and purchase the corresponding ingredient. No, unless I can't get it anywhere else and there's no hope. Why not? In the Empress Borough, the opulent villa of Earl Hall, Audrey was still reminiscing over today's gathering when she saw her personal maid Annie come in. Miss, here's your telegram. It's from the east coast of Balam. Alfred? Dear sister, the rainbow salamander you asked for has arrived at Pritz Harbor last night. My orders are to deliver it to your manor in the suburbs. Arrived last night? Then it'll be delivered as early as today or tomorrow. With a shallow smile, she said, Susie, the gift I prepared for you is almost here. Woof? Susie looked in confusion. Oh, look at that. Susie's moving up to sequence 7 before Klein sequence 8 before Klein moves up to sequence 7. That's fucked. I finally... right at the end, Nightwalker. Good lord. Yeah. Alright, right at the end. You caught up just as we were finishing. Alright, we went for 3 hours and 1 minute. That's quite good. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9... 3. Alright, I did 9 chapters. That's pretty good. And then I think I did 7 this morning, so I think I did 16 today. That's pretty good. Alright. I think we'll leave it there. Alright, I will just adjust the title so I don't have to do it in the morning. Had a good time lurking. Yes, thank you, here it is. Thank you everyone so much for if you made it all the way to the end, for sticking around. I hope you have a great rest of your day or nights. If any of you are not, I think everyone is, but if there's someone lurking still, and you're not currently in our Discord, consider joining. I try to give you guys a heads up for when I'll be going live on there. The link is in the description if you're interested. And other than that, hope you have a great rest of your day or nights, and I hope to see you again for the next stream in, like, Jesus Christ, 10 hours. Fuck. That's it. See you guys.